Social media is one of the most powerful tools in human history for building your influence. Whether you want to grow a business, grow a brand, grow a nonprofit, or just build a side hustle or get a message out to the world, social media is the way to do it. These platforms are free, and recent stats revealed that over half of the world's total population are now active on social media. That is crazy, but here's the thing. Social media also has a big weakness, and that is that you don't control the platforms. Whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, algorithms are always changing. You might post one video or image today that reaches tons of your followers, and then tomorrow, all of a sudden that reach has been cut in half or has been messed with in some way. So what's the answer? Well, you have to be building an email list. Sometimes email lists are not the most sexy thing in the world, but yet they are still the foundation of building a real online business with the ability to communicate with your audience on your own terms. And in this video, we're actually going to be breaking down 7 tips of how to build your email list and some secrets that we've used to build an email list of over 280,000 people, plus a multiple 7-figure business. So get ready, buckle your seatbelt, because it's coming up all right now in the Think Marketing Podcast.
Welcome to the Think Marketing Podcast, the #1 podcast for growing and scaling your business with online video. I'm Heather Torres.
And I'm Sean Cannell, and we're from Think Media. And if this is your first time listening, welcome.
This show is dedicated to helping you learn how to get your content noticed and the latest money-making strategies working right now online. So whether you want to grow your YouTube channel or you want to maximize video across all of social media, this podcast is for you.
Hey, what's up? Sean Cannell here, and welcome back to the Think Marketing Podcast, where we are obsessed with helping you build a high impact and high profit online business leveraging social media in video. But here's the thing. I actually don't believe that it's possible to build a predictably profitable online business without building an email list. I know it's not the coolest thing to talk about. We want to get more social media followers. We want to get more social media likes. We want more reach on our posts. And we're obsessed with those things here at the Think Marketing Podcast because those things matter to getting more awareness, getting more exposure. But if you want to build a predictably profitable online business, you got to be building your email list. And that's what today's session is all about. This session is actually brought to you by our Inner Circle program. That's our monthly business and marketing membership that we have here at our whole Think Media brand. And this session is taught by Heather Torres, the Chief Operation Officer of Think Media. And she's actually going to be breaking down 7 elements of an irresistible premium. So what was the secret for us growing our email list to over 283,000 subscribers? By the way, we've probably grown our email list to over 700,000 in the journey of our various brands and businesses. And what you do is from time to time, you clean your email list. If people haven't been opening emails, or maybe the emails are being delivered to junk or they're going somewhere else, you narrow that down. I think right now we have something like 350,000 active email subscribers. Well, how have we done that? What is the secret to doing that? It's irresistible freemiums. Well, Sean, what is a freemium? Well, there's a couple different words for it. One is a lead magnet. As a business owner, you need leads, people that have raised their hand to say, I'm interested in the category, the topic, the products, the services that your business offers. And so I'm going to give you my contact information in exchange for for a lead magnet, right? And that could be anything. It could be a checklist. We've done those at Think Media. It could be an hour-long webinar. We have those here at Think Media right now. It could be an MP3 audio series, or just an audio file, or like a video training. It also could be there's a lot of different lead magnets or freemiums. We call them freemiums. That's free premium content. It's going to help you get a result. It's going to help the listener, the viewer, the person who downloads it solve a specific problem. And so in exchange for their information, other people call them freebies. Another one is content upgrades. It's a free gift. Other people call them ethical bribes. Like, it's a way to say, hey, I'm going to give you something really cool. As a way, I'm giving you some really cool free premium information in exchange for the ability to keep communicating with you to see if you potentially would want to do business down the road, right? And so that's what a freemium is. And in this session, Heather Torres breaks down 7 elements of how to have, listen, an irresistible freemium. Because this is the critical element. You know, on blogs, they call them content upgrades. You know, you read a little bit of free information on the blog, you watched some really good free information on the YouTube video, but now I want a content upgrade. I want to go deeper and give me something that's organized, you know, something that I can take home or digest, maybe a mini ebook, definitely not a long ebook. You want a quick result for that viewer and that listener. So that's what today's session is all about. So get ready. You might want to grab a pen, grab a journal, because Heather breaks down some really powerful content that you're going to love, and that's going to help you either grow an email list from scratch, or if you already have one, you lean in even more, because this is going to help you grow your email list faster with, listen, the right people for your business, your brand, the right audience that you want to attract. Lean in, because that's all coming up right now on the Think Marketing Podcast.
I need your arms around me. I need to feel your touch.
Baby, I'm tired of waiting. Go recharge your batteries, come back to me and make your mama proud.
I need your arms around me. I need to feel your touch, and I really wanna talk.
Marketing Podcast.
You're going to jump into how are you going to build your profitable email list with a high value freemium. That's what we're going to cover right now. So here's the first thing I like to say. Yes, it's a high value freemium, but we want to actually create an irresistible freemium. So I'm going to share with you the 7 elements of an irresistible freemium. And, you know, to me, this is really important because as we go through this, we're going to set some goals. We're going to create your first freemium by the end of this. We are going to update your current freemium. So like Sean said, if you are already at this, I saw someone in the chat said, I already have freemiums going, I already have digital courses. That's great. I want to challenge you. You know, we are building a multi-million-dollar business right now. We have more freemiums to create. Like Sean said, I have a list sitting over here that I'm so excited to get started on. So we're going to update our current freemiums and we're going to create additional freemiums to the business. So no matter where you're starting, whether you're just starting at the beginning or if you're moving towards a higher level scale, freemiums are the best way to exchange with your people who are going to become your customers. Because here's the thing, a freemium, a lead magnet, a web class, whatever you want to call it, this is a gift. This is a gift. Because when someone is going to move from the space of following you to exchanging their information with you, that's a gift. And here in Inner Circle, we hold that as a very high value. If someone is willing to give us their personal information, their email address, they're saying, I want to at some point do business with you, it is so important that we value this as a gift. So don't just think of it as, oh, I just need to build an email list. I need to build this thing. Every single person on that email list is a person. Like, let's think about that. Every single person on your email list, they are a real person who has real needs and real problems, and they need your help. The first part of the 7 elements of irresistible freemium, this is what we're going to create. We're going to walk through this. It needs to solve a problem. The freemium itself needs to solve a problem. So I'm going to show you some big mistakes that content creators, that entrepreneurs make, and mistakes we personally have made in creating freemiums. And this is the first one. It has to actually solve
a problem. This is so important. If you're just putting information out into the world, if it doesn't actually hit a pain point for a person, there's no reason that they should actually want to do business with you. So number one is it needs to solve a problem. So when you're creating a freemium, the question you want to ask yourself is, what problem does this freemium solve? Write it out. What is the actual problem? That's number one. Number two, one piece of the puzzle. So one of the 7 elements of an irresistible freemium is it needs to solve one piece of the puzzle. Now, another big mistake is entrepreneurs will create freemiums that solve every single problem. And let me tell you, that's not where your audience needs to start. So for us, it is not a good idea to create a freemium that is going to solve the world's problems through video. That is not where we need to start. We need to start all the way back at the beginning of how do you start a YouTube channel. That's a piece of the puzzle of online business. So that's how you would solve it. That's number 2. So the question you ask yourself is, what is one piece of the puzzle that this freemium solves? Number 3, the freemium needs to be easy and quick to digest. The freemium needs to be easy and quick to digest. This is so important because we want people to get a quick win. And when I say easy, I mean easy for not just desktop, but also mobile. Because look at this. In 2018, mobile devices made up 42% of the total time spent online. I mean, raise your hand in your own room, wherever you are right now. Raise your hand if you spend more time on your mobile device than you do your desktop. Now, I'm not talking for work-wise. I mean, like just for entertainment or you're researching. Do you use your mobile device or do you use your desktop? Well, this survey from SimilarWeb said 42% of time is spent online, which means your freemium, it actually needs to be able to be quickly consumed through a mobile device. So when you're creating freemiums, you do not want them to be filled with a ton of graphics that could, they have to scroll over to the right or to the left, or that you make a video that isn't designed in a web page that is allowing for it to be mobile friendly. So when you're thinking about the freemium that you're doing, to make it irresistible for someone to consume, it needs to be quick and easy. Number 4, it needs to have high value. Now, this is, I just want to take a pause for a second because this is where so many entrepreneurs fall into this mistake. They just want to get something out there, right? You're like, I just want to make something and I want to get it out there really quick. But here's the thing. If this is the first time that someone is going to exchange information with you, if this is the first time that a person who has a need and you're on the other end with an answer, this is the first time they're going to interact with you, and it doesn't bring high value to them, what do you think that says about your business? Like, what do you think that is that person is going to think the next time they're looking for a dog trainer, or the next time they want to organize their kitchen, or the next time they're looking for a homeschool mom to help them? Like, what is it going to say if the thing that you're creating doesn't give them high value? And so this doesn't mean that it needs to be, a large freemium. This just means that it needs to cut right to the pain point of your audience and be able to serve them at a high capacity for free. Like free. Like all the information you're going to put in there is going to be information that they could take action on and actually see results. So let's jump into the next one here. I'm going to switch back over. All right, so number 5, it needs to have the ability to instantly be accessible. So a lot of times what can happen with the freemium is that with with deliverability of different freemiums, people will make people wait to get it. And that is not going to look great on your brand. This is something that needs to be easily accessible. So for us in our business, we go from landing page to asking for their email to directly to the freemium, because we want you to have it to be a seamless process as you're going through. So the question you need to ask yourself is this freemium easy to be consumed? Is it easily accessible? And a great way to test this out is to send the web page to like 5 of your closest friends and say, hey, how easy is this? Like, are you able to do this? How easy is that for you? Number 6, it needs to deliver RIA, results in advance. This is so critical because a lot of times in business, we want to hold back. We don't want to give away the good stuff for free. And here's what we need to do as business owners. We need to be open-handed, and we need to allow our potential customers to see that we're able to get results for them in advance. So when they're downloading your freemium, when they're listening to your audio, when they are watching your video, could they never do business with you and have their life changed? That's what I want you to think about. If this person were to never do business with me and all they have is all the freemiums that I'm creating, would their life be changed? And I want you to always say yes to that answer. And the last one is it needs to give a clear call to action. So these are the 7 elements of creating an irresistible freemium. It needs to give a clear call to action. Here's a big mistake that can happen with a lot of freemiums is that it doesn't tell the person the next step to take with you. You know, if they've just invested 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour into their own time with you, what's the next thing they should do? Should they follow you on social media to be able to get more tips exactly like this? Should they move into your course if the next thing you're selling is an online digital product? Should they buy something that you have that's physical? What is the next call to action that that person should have with you? Now, as we go through this, I want to show you, these are the big mistakes to avoid. And sorry, Sean, I'm going to actually use your first freemium that you created as the biggest mistakes to avoid. So the first thing is this ebook, it was way too long for a freemium. You know, Sean was newer in the market, and so he was creating something that he had already had access to, which is great, but it's not going to be an irresistible freemium for someone. The second is it's not really easy to consume. I mean, yes, it was easy, it was accessible, and so he clicked that box, but is it very easy to consume? I mean, a lot of people don't actually want to read through an ebook. They would rather have a 1-page or a 2-page checklist to be able to do that. So this is going through Sean's freemium. And the third is this actually solved more than one piece of the puzzle. I mean, he was saying like how to use social media to grow your brand and reach more people. Now, if he was super specific to that puzzle, he could have a freemium for Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and he could be really, really specific on what type of reach you could expect and how long it would take. So that kind of walks you through the 7 elements of an irresistible freemium. It needs to solve a problem. It needs to be one piece of the puzzle. It needs to be easy and quick to digest. It needs to be high value so that your brand is representative high value. It needs to be instantly accessible. It needs to deliver results in advance. And you need to give a clear call to action for where the person should go next. So here's an example. I saw this one online. It was from Digital Marketer. And I mean, look at this copy. Look at this headline. Grow enough food to feed a family of 4 in just 4 square feet of space, even if you don't have a yard. Now, if you are interested in gardening and your pain point is you want to learn how to do a garden, but you don't have any yard space, there you go. There's your freemium right there. You get instant access to this guide. The next one here is from Amy Porterfield. She's giving out a free checklist, a cheat sheet. She's giving out a free cheat sheet that gives you 20 smart strategies to help you grow your email list. If I'm trying to grow an email list and my pain point is that, I definitely want to know what the 20 smart strategies are, right? I don't want to be, going through different strategies and not knowing if they're the right ones. And then check this one out. This is a meal plan. Get 5 free meal plans free. Only 5. Very easy to consume. It's not overwhelming. You're not taking on an entire diet book, but you're able to get 5 free meal plans to test drive, to see, is this person going to be able to help me in the future, when I'm ready to exchange money with someone in the future, will this person be able to help me? And this one is a great idea for that. So let's jump into 7 easy to create freemiums, because I saw a lot of comments that were coming through about not knowing what type of freemiums to create. And if you're just starting, I want you to pick one off of this list, off of these 7. And if you've been in business for a while and you don't have all 7 of these, well, I'm going to challenge you to look into creating these 7 irresistible freemiums. These are easy to create freemiums. You can create a checklist.
iPhone 16e has the best battery life for an iPhone this size, so nothing's stopping you from getting the high score, except the stairs, benches, and rails. iPhone 16e, latest iPhone, greatest price.
Score big with Alsco uniforms, the ultimate game changer for your team's image. Dress your employees for success with our Game Ready Uniform Management Program. Our hygienically clean uniform laundry and deliveries ensure your team steps out onto the court looking sharp and professional. From the maintenance crew to the kitchen crew to the mop crew, Alsco Uniforms has performance workwear for every player in your business. Let Alsco show you why it pays to keep clean with Alsco Uniforms.
You can create a checklist, templates, an audio recording, a video training, calendars, cheat sheets, a plan, a planner, or printables. These are the ones, Inner Circle, that we're going to start with this month. We're going to choose one off of this list. We're going to use our knowledge and we're going to create something right off of this list. So here are some examples for you to kind of get those wheels going for you. So Marie Forleo, she has a YouTube show and she sells a academy, an online academy. And that's the only 2 things she really does in her business. She's very focused. And so to supplement that and create a freemium, she decided to create an audio freemium because that was easiest for her to move her clients or to move people into becoming clients. Getting into their ears, being someone that can speak to them, that is exactly what she was looking for. And then Life is Messy Planners, she creates free planners. Now, she also creates them where you can purchase them and get them sent to your home so you don't have to print them out. But the freemium is that you can download different printables for free. And then we have a free masterclass. That's a video training. It's a very simple landing page that we created. And then again, Amy Porterfield's on there as well. Here's some other examples for you. Free 5-day declutter challenge. Stop letting clutter weigh you down. In 5 days, you will see a difference in your home. That is an amazing freemium. That can be delivered through an email sequence. That can be through a checklist that maybe they download and it's every day. Or that could be a video series that you're walking them through. The KonMari checklist, that's one that I personally downloaded myself. And I put this on here because that is hitting a trend. And that helps if you are someone who is in the organizing space. What about workout schedule? Or what about an eating plan? Or what about a video content calendar? Whatever you are doing in your audience, I'm sure you can figure out a calendar or a schedule or a checklist that can go along with it. And I just wanted to share with you, while I was putting my part of the presentation together, I was searching around on different websites and I got hit with this. This is a freemium that I got hit with when I was researching list building. I was just trying to, get some ideas to give to you guys beyond what we have created here at Think Media. And look at this, get my 5-day email funnel that generated $400,000 from a single launch. Yeah, I think I'd like that because I'm in the market right now of searching how to build email lists. So look at what happened. He created this irresistible freemium for me. Then he asked me to confirm my email, which was very easy to do. And then right there, after I confirmed my email, this is sitting on the next page. So I clicked on it, sent me right to the next page, and boom. And guess what? It only took me 10 minutes to read through. 10 minutes. I learned 5 days of emails in 10 minutes. And now I can take that and I can put it into our business if I find that that was useful. And I did. I read through what Growth Lab had and I was like, wow, I don't even know who Growth Lab is, but now I'm going to start following them. So guess what I did after that? I went to social media and I was like, I wonder if they have a YouTube channel. And then I was like, I wonder if I should follow them on Facebook. Wonder what kind of content they create on Facebook. Now, I'm not a customer of theirs yet, but do you see how now I'm inside of their world? I went from getting into a freemium to now following them on social media to then watching to see what will the offer be. I mean, if it's a valuable offer for me, I probably will buy it because I got so much value out of this 10 minutes of their freemium. So we went through the 7 irresistible elements the 7 elements of an irresistible freemium. We just went through different types of freemiums that you can create. And now we're going to go through the 5 steps to creating an irresistible freemium in under 30 days. Can you commit to that, Inner Circle? Creating a freemium in under 30 days? Now, I know if you're anything like me, you're like, okay, yeah, that sounds great because I'm a consumer. I love being on web classes and reading through freemiums and doing all the things. And like Sean said, it is so much easier to post on Instagram than it is to create a freemium. And I will definitely tell you that even for my own personal brand and for my homeschooling channel, I only have one freemium. I mean, I teach this for a living and I only have one freemium. And here's why. Because unless you commit to doing it, like unless you make the commitment and you publicly say like, I'm going to make this freemium and I'm going to plan out the time to do it. And I'm going to walk through the freemium creation checklist, doesn't get done. I mean, if we can be honest, it doesn't get done. And so we want to challenge each other. We want to uplift each other. We want to be there to be able to help each other get through this first step. Because you know what this does? This starts to build an email list. And then you know what happens after that? You start to gain some confidence because you're like, wow, I created this and people are using it. And then you know what you do? You start to actually talk to your customer or your potential customers. And you're like, hey, did you guys like this? Did you want something else like this? Or they email you back and they're like, this was so great, but what about this? And you're like, wonder what my next freemium should be about, right? And the whole cycle starts. And I think one thing that's hard for new business owners to really grasp the concept of is that this is pretty simple. Like it really is simple. You create something that you think your target audience will want, you solve a problem, and then you ask them, what would you like next? What's the next thing that you would like? You know, the entire reason that Video Ranking Academy was birthed was because we knew that that is what a massive audience was looking for. And we knew that because we asked them. And so if you're like curious, what should my first freemium be? Or what kind of checklist should I make? Or, what type of audio would they like to hear? I guarantee you that the current audience you have, whether it's 1 person or 1 million people, they will tell you exactly. exactly what their pain point is if you ask them. So first you need to decide, what are you going to create? So we had that list, right? We had the 7 things on the list. Are you going to create a checklist, a template, an audio recording, a video training? Are you going to create a calendar, a cheat sheet, or a planner, or a printable? You just circle it. You just decide, what am I going to create? The next thing you're going to do is you're going to create your outline. Now, this outline, hear me, inner circle, this is where we love to get stuck, right? Because we're like, oh my gosh, I could put all this in it. And oh my gosh, I could put all this in it. And I could just go crazy. But here's what I want you to remember. What we did on our first freemium roadmap is we need to decide, what's the one pain point? I mean, if you really know your stuff, like if you know that there's someone you can help with the information you're putting out there, if you and I were to go to coffee, you would know what my pain point is. I mean, we know it here at Think Media. We know exactly the pain points that our customers have. And so we're going to create freemiums around that. But here's what we do. We start to create the outline, and we take like 10 days to create the outline, because that actually stops us from actually doing the hard stuff, which is the tech, right? It actually stops us from putting something out there and feeling like, well, what if no one likes this? Or like, what if no one downloads this? But here's the thing. I want you to commit to spending an hour or less creating your outline. That's it, an hour or less. That's all I want you to do. And on your paper, on your printable, it says, I will spend blank hours working on my outline. And then it says, I will complete my outline on this day. I think it's powerful. When we write down our goals and we write down our dates and we look at our calendar and we really actually commit to ourselves to taking action, that's where we start to see transformation take place. And so you're going to decide what you're going to create. You're going to create your outline. And then the next thing we'll do is we're going to actually create the freemium. That's right. You're going to create the freemium. You're going to create the checklist. You're going to record the audio. You're going to film that video. You're going to do whatever it is that you need to do. And here's where we get stuck again. So, right, it's, oh man, Heather, this is so hard. I don't know what to do or how to make it or what it looks like or, you know, what that could be. But
gold standard. Gold dust. Pot of gold. Solid gold. You're worth your weight in gold. Golden boy, golden girl, golden goose, golden egg, golden age, golden ticket, golden opportunity. Is it just me, or is there some kind of clue here?
I know, Phil. I'm on top of it. That was our chief security officer on the phone. The time has come. We can no longer ignore the elephant in the room.
What's up?
6 years ago, we installed open source code. In 2 weeks, it goes end of life. That means that the open source creator, they no longer support it. Our clients require that we use supported code. We have no money. We have no time. This could ruin us. We need solutions. Bob?
I mean, the only real option is to migrate, right?
That could take years. Right, Sally?
Yeah, it'll take 2 and, I don't know, like $5 million.
Bob?
She's not wrong. I mean, developer time, pausing the roadmap, I don't know, increased functionality that we wanted to push out, it's probably closer to $3 and $6 million.
If only we had more time. Elephant? What's never-ending support from Hero Devs?
Never-ending support from Hero Devs lets you keep using your open source software past its end of life and stay secure, compatible, and compliant without migrating.
Sally?
I mean, that sounds amazing.
Bob?
I didn't even know that was an option. I say yes.
That's the one.
Yes! When it comes to security, never be afraid to talk about the elephant in the room. Get Hero Dev support today.
I want you to know that there is so much information online that can help you through this. So if you're like, oh, I really want to create, a checklist and I just don't know how, I'll bet you that on YouTube or on Google, there's someone who's walked you through it on Canva. Or I'll bet that there's someone inside of Inner Circle. We have hundreds of smart, purpose-driven entrepreneurs here inside of Inner Circle. Leverage them and say, how do I do this? How do you make a freemium in Canva? Does anyone have a template that they've used? Or, hey, what do you guys think is the best way to upload audio? Has anyone done that before? And there is so much information here inside of this group of individuals that don't let creating the freemium be your blocker. Don't let you getting something out into the world be the blocker right here, the creating of the freemium, be that blocker for you. So you're going to commit to creating your freemium. And then on the sheet, before you can check that off, I will complete my freemium on this day. What day is it? You've got 30 days to get this done. What day in the next 30 days are you going to commit to doing it? The next is you need tools. Sorry, let me go there. Sorry, went too fast. You need tools for delivery. So what are the tools that you need for delivery? Actually delivering your freemium to your potential clients, the people that are opting in. Well, here's the 3 things that you need. This is all you need. You need a landing page, which means that is the page that you collect their emails from. You need an email service provider, and you actually need the freemium. I know I had to put that on there. Number 3 is actually delivering the freemium. Now, there are so many ways that you can do this. And if you are a serious entrepreneur and you're ready to go to the level that is going to grow your business and you want an all-in-one solution, Sean already told you we use Kajabi. We use Kajabi because it can be hard to link this together and put that in here and use this email service provider. And do these things go together? And how does this deliver here and that and that? If you just commit to something that is an investment into your business, you're going to make the things happen that are going to get you to the next level in your business. And so we use Kajabi for several reasons. One, it has everything we need, the landing pages, the email service provider. It has the places that we can use for hosting of our downloads and our videos and our audios and all the O's. We use Kajabi for that. And, I want you to know too, that if you're bootstrapping, like if you're just starting out, if you're like, Heather, there is no way I'm going to commit to something that is like that. Like I can't do that yet. No worries. Because we've all started in a bootstrapping season. And so some other options besides using Kajabi are things like MailChimp. That's where Sean started. He started on MailChimp because that let him collect emails. You could start Squarespace. That's a website provider, but depending on what package you have with them, you're able to collect emails and deliver deliverables to people. And then there's also Wix. And Wix is another easy email provider to be able to do that. And I can tell you, I have had experience with all of these, all 4 of these. I've also used Thinkific and I've used Teachable. I've used so many different pieces of software. And I can tell you that one of the easiest things is.
In every mighty empire lurked a chaotic world of payroll and HR. Pharaoh Khufu had to settle for the pyramids we know today because the best engineers lived too far away. If only Khufu could hire and equip the talent he needed, who knows what the 7th wonder of the world would be. Whoa, that's the most beautiful cubamid I've ever seen in my life. The Aztecs were inventive engineers who created floating gardens. Meanwhile,
and I can tell you that one of the easiest things is being able to use software that does it for you. I mean, unless you're someone who wants to actually learn how to do all the things and connect everything together and figure out, I can only collect this many email addresses, or I can only do so much here. I need to do a lot more of the branding, or whatever the triggers are for you. That's why we use Kajabi. But all of these are just a way to start. And that's what we need you to do. We need you to pick a way that you're going to deliver your freemium, and you just need to start. And you can start on one of these and eventually move to something else, but you need a way that you can deliver your landing pages, have an email service provider, and then deliver the freemium to your potential customers. And then lastly, you need to have 3 emails for follow-up. And this is critical critical, because if we're not able to communicate with the people who have opted into our world, we are wasting the opportunity to grow in relationship with that person. Now, hear me out, Inner Circle. Hear what I said. I didn't say we're wasting the opportunity to sell them something. I didn't say that. You are wasting the opportunity to build a relationship, because we here in Inner Circle, we are not about the quick buck. We are about the long game. We are about helping you create a business, an empire, a structure that will give you freedom. And so when you're actually starting to build this part of your business, you need to start emailing. And here's what happens. We send one email. And you know what that feels like after you've only got one email? You're like, wow, that's it. That's all I'm worth to you. One email, no follow-up, no asking me questions, no starting a relationship. I mean, that's it. I mean, cool. I got my piece. I got what I needed out of it, but you don't want to go deeper with me. You don't want to know what my problems are. I mean, I raised my hand and said, I have this problem. That's why I'm downloading your thing. And you don't want to go further? I mean, that's how I don't know how you feel about that, but I can tell you that if I had these 3 things here, it would make me feel a lot better about the business that I'm going into. And so number 1 is you need a confirmation email. There are records right now in email open rates with this specific email, a confirmation email, upwards of 80% of open rates from an email that says, here's your confirmation. That is amazing. That is an opportunity right there in their inbox to speak to your potential clients and customers. Number 2 is a follow-up email. Did you get this? Now, let me know if you can relate, Inner Circle. You have been doing something on your phone. You're like deep in research. You're all excited. You're like, ooh, I want that. Ooh, yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, yeah. Ooh, I'm going to watch that webinar. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to definitely follow through this checklist. Or I'm going to print it out. I'm going to do all these things. Then it goes, ding. And you're like, ooh, Instagram. Oh, Shalene's live. I should watch that too. And then all of a sudden, you didn't actually consume the content. And so a follow-up email that can come anywhere from 4 hours to 24 hours later, that actually says, hey, I know life gets crazy and busy, and you can speak to them in whatever tone or language or whatever would make sense to you. So for me, let's say it's my homeschool channel. I could say something like, hey, I know that homeschooling can take up a lot of your time. And, a lot of times the kids can be a distraction, but I just wanted to make sure, did you happen to listen to the full audio? I recommend that next time you're doing laundry, plug that bad boy in so you can get all the way through it. And it's just a follow-up, and I'm speaking to her, and we're just being friends, right? We're just talking. I'm starting this relationship. It's kind of a volley back and forth. And then the last is a next step or feedback. Now, this is critical, Inner Circle, to ask your customers, your potential customers, the people on your email list, hey, did you like this? It is really important, because this is where you're going to get the actual information about what you should change. Because let me tell you, like Sean said, your first freemiums, they're probably not going to be your best freemiums. I will raise my hand right now and say that the freemium that I have on my website, don't go to it because it's awful. Don't go to it right now. But the freemium that I have on my homeschool site right now, it could be better. And you know how I could figure out if it could be better? If I just asked the 500 people who have downloaded it, hey, did you like this? Was there anything missing? Did you consume all of it? How long did it take you to get through this? Hey, what is your next step? That is valuable information. And you know what it does? It lets down this barrier of me being on this like weird pedestal that we put people on. And it brings me back down to, hey, I'm here. I'm here for you. I want to help you. I want to know what your struggles are. I want you to know that I'm a little bit further on the path, and I just want to help. And so just let me know, like, hey, did you like this? Or did you want something different? Or would you love a video that supports that? Like, these are critical questions to ask your audience. So when you're going through, these are the 3 emails that I'd love you to commit to making. And guess what? Inner Circle, we're going to give you templates for all 3 of these emails. We're going to just swipe copy our actual emails so that you're able to just plug in what works for you, and then you can just send those emails in automation with whatever service provider you have gone to. So let's move through that again. The 5 steps to creating this irresistible freemium in 1 weekend or less, or in 30 days, which is what we've committed to. But if you do it in a weekend, awesome. Here you go. You're going to decide what you're going to create. You're going to create your outline. You're going to create the freemium itself. You're going to create the tools for delivery. And then you're going to set up 3 emails for follow-up. That's what we're going to do, Inner Circle. And I just want to walk you through this. This is what it can kind of feel like. I don't know about you, but my 3 kids, 11, how old are they now? 11, 10, and 7 are obsessed with Legos. I mean, we have Legos. I feel like we should buy stock in Legos because we have so many. It's just something that we really love to use in educational way. And this right here is representation of all of the pieces of your business. When you get a Lego set, you go to the store and they're so excited. They're jumping up and down because you bought this Lego set for them, and they get it home and they rip open the package. And my organization mind is like, OMG, that is a lot of little pieces. What are we going to do with this? And then they start building. Right? It's one at a time, and they go through the book and they're just putting one piece on top of the other on top of the other. But here's the thing. Your freemium, it is just one piece of the puzzle. Your freemium is where we need to start. This is the starting point. And then over time, as you're working through your manual, as you're going through Inner Circle, as you're leaning on the community here, and as you start to build this business, you're going to create something magnificent. You're going to create this awesome Lego castle. I mean, look how much energy and excitement and intricacy is inside of this castle. There's people involved, which is team, and there's leaves growing, which means that it's aged, and there's this gigantic building, and you look back and you're like, wow, I started with this.
I need your arms around me. I need to feel your touch.
I'm tired of waiting. Go recharge your batteries, come back to me and make your mama proud.
I need your arms around me. I need to feel your touch, and I really wanna talk.
At IQ Air, we believe that good health starts with clean air. And our 60-year history of innovation and expertise allows us to build better, cleaner technology. Our products are always Swiss and German made and are crafted with the highest quality. Swissness and sustainability is at the heart of everything we do. You can travel high into the Swiss Alps to breathe the cleanest air, or you can watch the IQ Air story to learn more about how we can help your family breathe cleaner air.
And first I built this, and now I've built this. And so our goal for you, Inner Circle, is to create your first freemium. Our goal for you, Inner Circle, that if you are more advanced, is to update your current freemiums. Go through these actual downloads and say, wow, am I solving 5 pain points or am I solving 1? Wow, are they able to get actual results with this in the time that I think they should? Well, I need to change that. Or you need to create additional freemiums because there are more people out there who need exactly what you have to offer.
So those were the 7 elements of an irresistible freemium, but stick around because we've got a lot of great content still to come on the Think Marketing podcast this week. But if you've been getting value out of this session and you're listening or watching this on YouTube, hit the like button. And question of the day for just your journal or for the comment section below is, what freemium do you need to create next? Applying and taking action on the 7 elements of an irresistible freemium from Heather. What freemium can you improve, or what freemium can you make next? Drop that in the comments, write that in your journal. And remember, we take massive action here at the Think Marketing podcast because that's where the results are. And I want to remind you that this session was just a small piece of one of the monthly sessions in our Inner Circle program. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go to thinkinnercircle.com. What Inner Circle is it's our exclusive monthly program where we teach you step by step everything that we've learned from growing a 7-figure media company online and what's working right now to dominate with social media and video. What we actually do is once a month, we do an hour-long session. That was a piece of one of the full sessions where we'll talk about the latest and most important topics in growing an online business. We have other training like Video Ranking Academy that focuses on YouTube, but the real question is, it's kind of like the iceberg, right? YouTube or social media is just the tip of the iceberg, but below that, come on, it's about building a product or an offer. What's your sales process? What are you doing to market online? When are you ready for Facebook ads and doing digital marketing? How's your branding? What's your overall messaging? What's your polarizing point of view? And these are the types of topics we talk about in Inner Circle. It's all the stuff that we've learned that is beneath the surface, behind the brand, if you will, of just the front end content that you see on our main YouTube channel, Think Media. And so if you've loved this content, I want to invite you to join the program. Every single month, we go live for an hour talking about the latest online marketing and online business tips and strategies. And then we also do an hour of hot seats and Q&A. So you get some insider access. There's a private Facebook group that we do. And probably one of the coolest things that people love is the activating worksheets every month. So every worksheet, you get an action plan so that you can put the tips into action with some bonus resources and things. And you get access to the vault. So when you're an Inner Circle member, which is an ability to join monthly or to just pay for 1 year at a time and save a little bit, we give you access to the vault so you get the past sessions. And we've covered, this was actually part of a 3-part session about building your email list. So how do you create an irresistible freemium, grow your email list? Then how do you actually create an online product, an online course, but a mini course, like in a weekend, like quickly creating a course so you have something to sell related to your YouTube channel, your brand, your business. And then how do you market that online course? So in 3 months of training, basically, that's part of the vault. You get a little bit of this session, you get the rest of this session and everything else. So that's all in there. But we also have deeper training on YouTube, on Instagram. We have guest speakers. We've had Pat Flynn, Shalene Johnson that come in an Inner Circle. We've had Mitch Jackson, the social media lawyer, talking about how to protect your ass. How do you protect your assets when it comes, when it comes to social media, protecting yourself legally, and a lot of, again, all the online business type of content. So if you're ready to accelerate and grow your online business faster, if you're just starting out and you want to have a shortcut and learn from proven mentors on the Think Media team, Heather Torres, myself, does a lot of training, Melissa Caputo, Tony Ariola, and so it's an amazing program. So anyways, thinkinnercircle.com is where you can learn more about that. And let me know your feedback in the comments or in the iTunes review about a little bit of this session of what you learned from Heather Torres with the 7 elements of an irresistible freemium. Well, hey, it's time for the comment of the week. And this week's comment comes from Echo RSXJ. It says, content that will change your life. No joke, it's that good. Everything is well executed. The sound quality is on point with thoughtful and enriching questions. Appreciate that. I'm going to keep reading. But just a quick shout out to a video series on our Think Media channel all about video podcasting. If you want to learn more about the microphones, how we do the video side, how we organize all the details of the Think Marketing podcast, we will link in the show notes a link to our video podcasting series. And I appreciate that feedback about those details because we care about those. And we also have recommendations for every budget. We have invested quite a bit into some of our gear, but we've got recommendations that are super affordable, whether you're just using your phone or whether you want a fancy setup like the one we use. The review continues. I'm for it. I want more of it. If you're not convinced, check out Think Media YouTube channel that has over 1 million subscribers and endless high quality content. It will alter your flip can existence. Wow, your flip can existence. No joke. Best for entrepreneurs and people that want to tap into YouTube vault of passive income or just express themselves better using video and online marketing. Happy listening. Well, Echo RSXJ, appreciate you for the comment of the week. Listen, as we land the plane on this week's Think Marketing podcast, I want to encourage you that in this community, we are hashtag action takers. Look, information is good. It's super important. We need the best tips, strategies, and tactics, but it's actually useless if we don't put it into action. So let me ask you a question. What is the next right step you need to make to move your online business forward? Is it to fix one of your freemiums? You might say, shoot, after listening to Heather, my freemium is resistible. Like, it's very resistible. I can see why nobody signs up for it, because it needs to turn into an irresistible freemium by applying these 7 steps. Or maybe it's not actually time for you to build an email list right now, because it might not be the next right step. Maybe you need to punch fear in the face and get that next video out. Maybe you just need to be taking action, not over optimizing at the start, but just kind of starting messy, punching fear in the face, punching perfectionism in the face and pressing record. I believe that you know what the thing that maybe you've been procrastinating, the thing that you've been putting off is. Come on, let's take action on that. And if you want to go deeper, calendar block it. Don't just write down the next to-do, the next tip, or the next thing you need to actually do. When are you going to do it? Like, open Google Calendar, open up your planner, and time block, calendar block when you're going to put that into practice. I want to encourage you. I'm just so grateful that you're a part of this community. Thank you for listening. If you would, rate and review the podcast on iTunes and wherever you listen to this, share this with somebody, because I know that right now, whether it's a business owner, friend, whether it's a pastor of a church, whether it's somebody that is looking for a way to make side income online, this pandemic that we've been going through in 2020, which has been a crazy year, has actually shined a spotlight on one thing that we know for sure. Video matters. Live video matters. Podcasting matters. You got to be leaning into social. Those stats are real. I'm reading it right in front of my face right now on video that the latest trends suggest that more than half of the world's total population will use social media by the middle of the year. That means right now in 2020 when I'm recording this. So it's time to lean in. It's time to punch fear in the face and leverage video, leverage live streaming, leverage podcasting, but also be using it with the purpose and building the ice underneath the iceberg of an email list. So thanks for being a part of this episode. Let's go take some action. Hit the like button or share this wherever you're listening or watching. Appreciate you so much. And we will see you in the next episode of the Think Marketing Podcast. Peace.
updating my kitchen. Thinking of redoing our kitchen. We are finally updating our kitchen.
For all those people who never seem.
When it comes to buying an electric vehicle, we all want to feel like we're making the smartest investment possible. Something reliable, cost-effective, and future-proof. But what if I told you that Toyota just made a new, really cheap EV that is forcing the entire industry to rethink everything? For years, Tesla has been the gold standard in electric vehicles, offering cutting-edge technology, impressive range, and one of the best charging networks in the world. But let's be honest, their prices have kept millions of people from making the switch. Now, Toyota is shaking up the industry by launching a fully electric sport utility vehicle for a price so low, it almost seems impossible. Just $13,000. How did Toyota manage to pull this off? What does this mean for Tesla and the entire electric vehicle market? And most importantly, should you wait before buying your next car? Stick around, because what you're about to learn could change the way you think about electric vehicles forever. Toyota's shocking $13,000 electric vehicle. Why it's a game changer. Nobody saw this coming. An electric sport utility vehicle priced lower than some used cars. Toyota, a company known for playing it safe in the electric vehicle market, just pulled off one of the boldest moves in automotive history. For years, electric vehicles have been seen as futuristic, luxurious, and most importantly, expensive. But Toyota just changed the game overnight with a model that costs less than 1/3 of what many buyers expect to pay for an electric vehicle. The average price of an electric vehicle has remained high, with companies like Tesla and luxury brands keeping costs well beyond what most drivers can afford. Even budget-friendly electric cars have struggled to go below $20,000, making the electric transition difficult for everyday consumers. But Toyota has undercut every competitor, offering a vehicle that challenges the idea that electric cars have to be expensive. The closest competitors in the budget electric vehicle space, including models from BYD and European brands, have still hovered around the $20,000 mark. Toyota's move does not just lower the price, it completely shatters previous expectations. It is not a small compact car either. This is a fully electric sport utility vehicle that seats 5 people and offers technology and driving range that seem impossible for a vehicle in this price range. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Toyota is not even trying to make money on this car. Toyota's hidden strategy, why it's selling at a loss. If Toyota is losing money on every electric vehicle it sells, what's the end game? Why would one of the world's most successful automakers willingly take a financial hit on each sale? The answer lies in a strategy much bigger than just one model. Toyota is playing the long game, and its true objective is market domination. This isn't the first time a company has used aggressive pricing to reshape an industry. Tech giants have done it before, offering products at razor-thin margins, or even at a loss to gain market share. Amazon, for instance, operated at a loss for years to establish its dominance in e-commerce. Tesla, too, prioritized growth over immediate profit, pricing its vehicles competitively to accelerate adoption. Now, Toyota is using a similar playbook, betting that by getting people into their electric vehicles today, they'll lock in a massive customer base for the future. Toyota's strategy isn't just about selling more cars. It's about securing long-term revenue, unlike traditional gas-powered vehicles, which generate most of their profit at the point of sale and through occasional maintenance. Electric vehicles provide ongoing monetization opportunities. From charging services to software subscriptions, Toyota aims to build a recurring revenue model that stretches far beyond the initial purchase. A growing number of automakers are integrating subscription-based software features into their vehicles, advanced driver assistance systems, premium infotainment options, and battery performance upgrades are all areas where manufacturers can charge ongoing fees. If Toyota successfully transitions millions of customers into its ecosystem now, it will control one of the most valuable aspects of the future automotive market, brand loyalty and recurring revenue streams. But there's another dimension to this strategy, a direct challenge to Tesla's dominance. Why Tesla should be very worried. Tesla has been the king of electric vehicles for years. With a strong brand, advanced technology, and a global network of fast charging stations, the company has maintained a strong grip on the market. But Toyota's aggressive pricing strategy just put Tesla in a difficult position. Tesla's business business model has always relied on maintaining a premium status. Their vehicles are priced as high-tech, luxury products, with even their most affordable models costing well over $40,000. That strategy has worked well when electric vehicles were seen as a premium product, but Toyota's new electric sport utility vehicle threatens to change that perception completely. If a major automaker like Toyota can produce a high-quality electric vehicle for a fraction of Tesla's cost, consumers will start questioning whether they need to pay a premium for an electric car. And if Tesla is forced to lower its prices to compete, that could put massive pressure on its profit margins. Unlike Toyota, Tesla does not have a lineup of gas-powered vehicles to rely on for revenue, making this price war especially dangerous. The problem goes even deeper. Toyota has global scale and manufacturing efficiency that Tesla simply cannot match. Toyota can produce and distribute vehicles at a level that few other companies in the world can achieve. With decades of experience in mass production and supply chain management, Toyota has the ability to absorb losses in one area while profiting in others. If they choose to expand this budget-friendly electric sport utility vehicle to markets outside of China, Tesla will have to respond, and the impact on their pricing strategy could be devastating. But Tesla is not the only company feeling the heat. There is an even bigger fight happening behind the scenes, and it involves some of the world's biggest automakers. The silent war, Toyota versus BYD and Volkswagen. Tesla is not the only company in trouble. Toyota's latest move is sending shockwaves through the electric vehicle market, forcing every major player to respond. The competition is heating up, and no one, not even industry giants like Tesla, BYD, or Volkswagen, is safe from the fallout. BYD, the Chinese electric vehicle powerhouse, has spent years dominating the affordable electric vehicle market. By offering electric cars at lower prices than Tesla, they carved out a strong position. But now, Toyota's aggressive pricing strategy threatens to undercut BYD's advantage. Even BYD's cheapest models are still significantly more expensive than Toyota's latest offering. If Toyota successfully scales production and expands to new markets, BYD will be forced to lower prices just to stay competitive. But there is a catch. Cutting prices means cutting profit margins, which could put serious financial strain on the company. If this pricing war escalates, it could trigger a domino effect, forcing electric vehicle manufacturers across the industry to slash their prices, turning profitability into a major challenge for everyone involved. And then there's Volkswagen, which might be in the worst position of them all. Unlike Tesla and BYD, Volkswagen has struggled to gain traction in the electric vehicle space. Their electric models are stuck in a no-man's land, too expensive to compete with budget-friendly options, yet not advanced enough to justify a premium price tag. Toyota's move only makes things worse for Volkswagen. If they fail to respond quickly, they risk falling even further behind in the race to dominate the electric vehicle market. But here's the real twist. Toyota's budget-friendly electric vehicle is not just about lowering prices. It's about reshaping the entire industry by offering an electric vehicle at a price point that undercuts not just Tesla, but even the cheapest competitors. Toyota is forcing every major automaker to rethink their strategy. This isn't just about affordability. It's about survival, and the most
From imagination to the track to your driveway. You in?
Over the past several days, 3 females have been found dead.
Looks like someone's going after these girls. I'm worried about what you're gonna find. So am I.
Chips Ahoy Baked Bites are so soft. With chocolate chips, so not a cookie.
Style and substance. In the GMC Sierra. Or get 0.9% APR on these Sierra models. Or get over $5,300 total value.
Home deserves Xfinity.
And this?
I like the snowflakes.
Also do taxidermy.
Wow.
Move with Xfinity and settle in with the best home Wi-Fi. Bring on the good stuff.
The The most surprising part, this so-called cheap electric vehicle is not just affordable. It is packed with features that make it a serious competitor to vehicles costing twice as much. The technology, design, and efficiency packed into this car are game changers. Once you see what Toyota has included, you'll understand why this move is shaking the industry to its core. This budget EV has surprisingly strong performance. When most people hear about a budget-friendly electric vehicle, they imagine a sluggish, uninspiring drive, something built purely for efficiency rather than enjoyment. But Toyota's latest move has rewritten the rules. This electric sport utility vehicle does not just compete with more expensive models. It holds its own against them in ways no one expected. Under the hood, this electric sport utility vehicle features a 150 kilowatt motor, delivering a surprising level of power for its price. That translates to ultimately 211 horsepower, putting it in the same league as far more expensive electric vehicles like the Chevrolet Bolt and the Hyundai Kona Electric. But raw power is not the only factor. What really sets this Toyota apart is how it uses that power. Acceleration is a key area where budget electric vehicles often struggle. Many entry-level models take close to 10 seconds to reach 60 miles per hour, making them feel sluggish compared to their gasoline-powered counterparts. But this electric sport utility vehicle shatters expectations, delivering an estimated 0 to 60 miles per hour time. Time of just under 8 seconds. That is faster than several well-established electric vehicles in the same segment, and even rivals some gasoline-powered sport utility vehicles in the mainstream market. The lightweight design plays a major role in this performance. By using advanced materials and a streamlined body structure, Toyota has managed to keep the weight of this electric sport utility vehicle remarkably low. This improves acceleration and handling, making it feel agile on city streets while remaining stable at highway speeds. The low center of gravity, thanks to the placement of the battery pack, enhances cornering ability, ensuring that this is not just an affordable electric vehicle. It is also a genuinely enjoyable one to drive. But even more shocking is how far this electric sport utility vehicle can go on a single charge. Forget range anxiety. How Toyota solved the biggest EV problem. For the longest time, one of the biggest concerns surrounding electric vehicles has been their range. Budget models in particular have often been limited to just over 150 miles on a single charge, making them impractical for anything beyond short daily commutes. But Toyota has taken a different approach, packing this affordable electric vehicle with a battery system that offers genuine usability. The base model comes equipped with a 50 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate battery, a chemistry known for its durability and cost efficiency. Under real-world conditions, this translates to an estimated 220 miles per charge, a figure that puts it well ahead of most budget-friendly electric vehicles on the market today. But for drivers who need even more range, Toyota has introduced an upgraded battery option that pushes the estimated range beyond 300 miles, something practically unheard of in this price segment. Charging speed is another area where Toyota has stepped up. Many budget electric vehicles are plagued by slow charging times, forcing owners to wait hours before getting back on the road. Toyota has addressed this by integrating 150 kilowatt fast charging capabilities. With this technology, the battery can be recharged from 30% to 80% in just under 30 minutes. That means less time spent waiting at charging stations and more time on the road. The key to this efficiency lies in Toyota's battery management system, which optimizes power distribution to ensure maximum longevity and reliability. Unlike older electric vehicle batteries that degrade quickly, this system is designed to last longer with minimal performance loss over time. And it gets even crazier. because Toyota packed this electric sport utility vehicle with features usually found in luxury cars. This EV feels high-end despite its price. When people think of a budget-friendly electric vehicle, they often picture a no-frills interior with hard plastic surfaces, tiny screens, and barely functional features. But step inside Toyota's latest creation, and you will immediately realize this is something different. Instead of feeling like a stripped-down economy model, this electric sport utility vehicle delivers a premium experience that rivals vehicles costing 2 or even 3 times as much. One of the most striking features is the massive 14-inch touchscreen that dominates the center console. This high-resolution display provides a sleek, modern interface for controlling everything from navigation to entertainment. Unlike the small, outdated screens found in many budget electric vehicles, this one is responsive, intuitive, and packed with advanced features. Right behind the steering wheel, an additional 8-inch digital driver display ensures that all essential driving information is visible at a glance. But technology is only part of the story. Toyota has also paid close attention to interior materials and design. Soft-touch surfaces, ambient lighting, and high-quality upholstery create a cabin that feels far more upscale than its price tag suggests. Wireless charging, a premium 11-speaker sound system, and even heated seats add to the sense that this is not just a budget-friendly electric vehicle. It is a thoughtfully designed one. Passenger comfort is another area where this vehicle excels. With spacious rear seating, dedicated air vents, and multiple charging ports, it ensures that even longer drives remain enjoyable for everyone on board. And while many budget electric vehicles compromise on noise insulation, Toyota has incorporated sound-deadening materials that make for a quiet, refined ride, even at highway speeds. But it is not just about looks. This electric sport utility vehicle is also surprisingly practical. The features that make this the most practical EV yet. Toyota did not just make this car cheap, it made it easy to live with. Affordability is one thing, but an electric vehicle also needs to be practical enough for daily use. Toyota has designed this sport utility vehicle with everyday functionality in mind, ensuring that it can seamlessly integrate into any lifestyle. Cargo space is a standout feature. Unlike many budget electric vehicles that prioritize cost-cutting over usability, Toyota has given this model a generous cargo area that rivals some of the best-selling compact sport utility vehicles on the market. The rear seats fold flat, providing even more flexibility for carrying larger items. Whether it is groceries, luggage, or sports equipment, this electric vehicle is built to handle it all. Ease of charging is another major consideration. Toyota has designed this vehicle to be compatible with a wide range of charging stations, including home chargers, public fast chargers, and workplace charging points. This level of versatility means that owners will not have to worry about whether they will be able to keep their vehicle powered, something that is still a concern with many competing models. Another practical feature is Toyota's advanced driver assistance technology. Despite its low price, this vehicle includes features such as adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and automatic emergency braking. These systems do not just make driving easier, they make it safer, giving drivers more confidence on the road. So now the big question, how does it actually compare to Tesla's best-selling sport utility vehicle? Toyota's EV versus Tesla Model Y, the cost battle. Is Tesla's Model Y overpriced? This comparison might surprise you. The Toyota electric sport utility vehicle enters the market at a price point so low that it forces the industry to reevaluate everything. With an entry cost of $13,000, it undercuts Tesla's Model Y by an enormous margin, considering Tesla's base model costs more than $40,000. That is over 3 times the price. For many consumers, this instantly positions Toyota as the obvious choice. But cost is never just about the sticker price. It is about long-term ownership. Owning an electric vehicle is supposed to be more affordable than a gasoline-powered car. Fewer moving parts, lower maintenance, and the ability to charge at home all reduce long-term costs. Tesla has traditionally dominated this narrative by offering software-driven efficiency.
Just for Men gives you your strongest, fullest, thickest looking beard yet. Mustache and beard, now with keratin. In just 5 minutes, score your best beard ever. Just for Men.
Hershey's Zero Sugar. Zero sugar, 100% delicious.
Got fixated
it on somebody. When I say somebody, I mean you. This obsession's much more than a hobby, and I can't help myself. I got a one-track mind, and it's all on you. It's all on you, and it's all on you. Hey, I got a one-track mind, and it's all on you.
Motorsports isn't complicated. It's made up of races where you go as fast as you can, as best as you can, as sideways as you can, and whatever this is. Our team, Toyota Gazoo Racing. We make some seriously fast cars. Like this one and this one, definitely this one. And they all have great drivers, ones that win, like win a lot. Look at all these legends. The hottest drivers right now are him, her, and this guy. They're all part of a big happy family of speed demons. Now you're up to speed. You in?
Offering software-driven efficiency and access to its extensive charging network. However, Toyota's move flips the equation. Its battery technology, built with lithium iron phosphate chemistry, is known for its longevity, reducing the risk of costly replacements. Additionally, Toyota's vast dealer network ensures that repair costs remain lower than Tesla's direct-to-consumer service model, which has faced criticism for long wait times and expensive out-of-pocket repairs. Government incentives also play a key role in the cost equation. Some regions offer significant tax breaks or purchase incentives for electric vehicles, but not all electric vehicles qualify. Tesla has reached the limit of many subsidy programs, while Toyota's new offering is still eligible for a wide range of financial benefits. That means, in some cases, the Toyota electric sport utility vehicle might cost even less than its already low sticker price. But price is only part of the equation. When buyers invest in a vehicle, they are not just purchasing affordability, they are buying into an experience. Beyond the initial cost, Toyota's lower insurance premiums make it even more attractive. Insurance rates for Tesla vehicles are often higher due to the cost of repairs, proprietary parts, and advanced driver assistance systems. Toyota's electric sport utility vehicle, with its widespread availability of parts and lower repair costs, results in lower insurance rates for the average owner, further increasing its affordability. Driving experience. Tesla's speed versus Toyota's simplicity. A budget electric vehicle is not supposed to feel this good on the road. Tesla has always built its reputation on performance. Even its least expensive models boast fast acceleration, agile handling, and a futuristic driving feel. The Model Y, in particular, can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in approximately 5 seconds, delivering the kind of instant torque that defines high-end electric vehicles. On the other hand, Toyota's budget electric vehicle is not trying to be the fastest, it is trying to be the most practical. The Toyota model prioritizes a smooth, comfortable ride over aggressive performance. Its electric motor, rated at roughly 200 horsepower, ensures steady acceleration without feeling sluggish. While it does not match the sheer speed of a Tesla, it offers a balanced driving experience that is ideal for city commuting and daily errands. Unlike many budget-friendly electric vehicles that sacrifice handling, Toyota has engineered a well-tuned suspension system that absorbs road imperfections, making it feel refined for its price point. Steering feel is another major difference. Tesla's steering is responsive and direct, making it feel sportier than most competitors. Toyota, by contrast, focuses on predictability. The steering is light but precise, making it easy to maneuver in urban environments. While it does not deliver the excitement of a high-performance electric vehicle, it creates a driving experience that feels effortless and stress-free. Where Toyota truly excels is in noise isolation. Tesla's Model Y has often been criticized for noticeable road noise, particularly at highway speeds. Toyota's electric sport utility vehicle, despite its affordability, offers impressive cabin quietness, making it a more relaxing ride in stop-and-go traffic. Additionally, Toyota has made its vehicle incredibly user-friendly for new electric vehicle owners. The Model Y's minimalist interior and touchscreen-based controls can be overwhelming for drivers accustomed to traditional cars. Toyota retains physical buttons for essential functions, ensuring a familiar and intuitive experience for first-time electric vehicle buyers. Charging and range. Who has the real edge? mileage, superchargers, or affordability. What really matters to electric vehicle buyers? Tesla's biggest advantage has always been its exclusive charging network. The Tesla Supercharger network is the most extensive, reliable, and fastest public charging infrastructure available. It allows Tesla owners to travel long distances without worrying about charging station availability. For many, this alone justifies Tesla's higher price, but that does not mean Toyota's electric vehicle is left without an answer. Toyota's electric sport utility vehicle relies on widely available third-party charging stations. While these do not always match the speed of Tesla's superchargers, they are expanding rapidly thanks to increased government funding and private investments. Additionally, the Toyota model offers direct current fast charging capabilities, meaning it can go from 30% to 80% charge in under 30 minutes at the right station. Battery range is another key differentiator. The Model Y has an estimated range of more than 300 miles, which is significantly higher than Toyota's base model, which delivers around 220 miles. However, for most drivers, especially urban commuters, the difference is not as critical as it may seem. Toyota's model still provides enough range for daily driving, and with more workplaces and public locations offering charging solutions, range anxiety is becoming less of a concern. Toyota's engineering also allows for better battery longevity. While Tesla batteries offer impressive range, their lithium-ion chemistry tends to degrade faster over time. Toyota's lithium iron phosphate battery is more resistant to long-term wear, offering peace of mind for those looking to keep their electric vehicle for many years. Tesla's dominance in charging and range remains one of its strongest selling points, but Toyota is not aiming to beat Tesla at its own game. It is reshaping the rules of competition, and that pressure is not only on Tesla. Will Volkswagen and Ford survive the electric vehicle price war? Toyota's move is forcing the entire automotive industry to rethink everything. Legacy automakers have spent years transitioning to electric vehicles, but Toyota's aggressive pricing puts brands like Volkswagen and Ford in a difficult position. Volkswagen has invested billions into electric vehicle production, with its ID series serving as its flagship lineup. However, the ID models are significantly more expensive than Toyota's electric sport utility vehicle, which threatens Volkswagen's strategy. Ford faces similar challenges with its electric vehicle lineup, including the Mustang Mach-E, which also comes at a much higher price point. Unlike Tesla, Volkswagen and Ford do not have the same level of brand loyalty among electric vehicle buyers. Tesla owners often stay within the ecosystem due to software features, charging infrastructure, and resale value. Volkswagen and Ford, on the other hand, are still building their electric reputations. If Toyota's price disrupts the market, these companies may struggle to justify their higher-priced models. Another challenge for these automakers is production cost. Volkswagen and Ford have not yet achieved the scale and efficiency of Tesla or Toyota, meaning they have less room to cut prices. Toyota's strategic partnership with Chinese manufacturers has allowed it to drive down costs in ways that traditional automakers cannot easily replicate. If Volkswagen and Ford cannot match Toyota's pricing strategy, they may be forced to shift focus to higher-end electric vehicles, leaving the mass market segment open for Toyota to dominate. Beyond pricing, Toyota's durability advantage may also hurt competitors. Ford's early electric models have faced software bugs and mechanical issues, while Volkswagen's ID series has struggled with software reliability. Toyota's proven track record of reliability gives it an edge in capturing hesitant buyers, transitioning to electric vehicles. This is why Toyota's move is more than just another electric vehicle launch. It is a wake-up call for the entire industry. While Tesla still leads in range and technology, Toyota's affordability opens electric vehicle ownership to a massive new audience. Meanwhile, legacy automakers must quickly adapt or risk falling behind. And now the biggest question remains: what happens next? Let's know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the biggest shifts in the auto industry. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check that it's not going into overtime before you storm the court. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Winner is T-Mobile Home Internet. JD Power's #1 in customer satisfaction for home wireless internet.
The wrapping up music already? T-Mobile Internet has price lock. They won't raise your rate on internet.
T-Mobile Home Internet with plans starting at $35 a month with price lock.
Want to see someone building something or doing something. It's like, take me on the journey with you. Typically, the biggest challenge for content creators is themselves. It doesn't matter how good you are. It matters who's showing up for the audience. If people discover you and they can't figure out how to describe you, they're going to forget you. Like, you need to be distinctive. People are starting to build reality shows around their businesses. People are starting to take you into their workplace. Employees of workplaces are now making content of what it's like to work in a company. If you inject a bit of sensationalism around the emotion behind what it is you're talking about, it makes it all that more attractive to share with others. The framework I use for this is there's kind of 7 key emotions that tend to get the most viral traction when you share content. And those 7 things are:
In today's episode of the Think Media Podcast, we're going to be learning some game-changing lessons from million-dollar personal brands and why most creators and entrepreneurs are fighting the wrong battles heading into 2025 and the hidden opportunities that 99% of personal brands are missing in the current landscape. We're also going to be learning the counterintuitive truth of why personal brands build trust 3 times faster than corporate brands, backed by real examples from our guests' work with Culture Kings and other iconic brands. Plus, he's going to be sharing his battle-tested 90-day framework for building your brand or your personal brand from scratch. And there's going to be so much more. Now, our guest today is Dane Walker. He's the CEO of the rapidly expanding digital media agency Rival. And he also is the author of 90-Day Brand Plan. And he's a global authority. He has built multiple different brands, consults with all kinds of different brands and personal brands, is really the go-to voice for entrepreneurs. And in our case, content creators. So this is your opportunity to get your brand right for your YouTube channel, for your social media presence, to get your personal brand dialed in for a new year. And there's going to be a lot of juicy nuggets in this masterclass. So I'm excited for what's coming up. Dane, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me, dude, and excited to be here.
Yeah, as we dive in, I want to start off right with the 3 biggest enemies creators need to overcome for building a standout brand. Or really, what are the 3 changes? You know, we were just talking, the game is changing when it comes to branding and personal branding in a 2025 landscape. And we wrote a few things down. The first thing you said is, people are tired of talking head content. Expand on that. What's the bigger theme there?
Yeah, I think, for me, when it comes to talking head content, there's content creation comes in waves with personal brands, right? If you go back 5 years ago on Instagram in particular, carousels were the hot thing that was popping off. Now YouTube channels are finding that they got to make shorts, they're going to make epic introductory kind of promo videos at the start of their podcast. Everyone's just getting better and more fierce at what they're doing. And I think just sitting down, turning the camera on and hitting record and talking is now getting kind of moved into a category where it's not taken seriously anymore. I think what people are looking for on channels in particular around entrepreneurship is they want to see someone building something or doing something. It's like, take me on the journey with you. The founder-led content is kind of a thing. It's like, okay, you're talking about what you could do, but show me, right? So people are starting to build reality shows around their businesses. People are starting to take you into their workplace. Employees of workplaces are now making content of what it's like to work in a company. So I just think that it's getting more competitive. More people are trying to enter the market. And you can't just, get in front of a camera and pretend you have a business anymore. People want to see proof and evidence that you're actually doing something substantial behind the scenes.
That kind of ties into number 2, where we do talk about market saturation. You're talking about you got to be good. What do you think has been kind of the different eras in a 2025 landscape? Was it too late to start? or what's the different approach that you got to have?
I never think it's too late to start. I think, there's people that are, haven't even started a channel yet that are going to dunk on you and I with views and attention and conversion, the likes that we've never seen. Right. So there's a Mr. Beast out there that doesn't even have a channel yet. And I think what's interesting here is it's never too late to start. I think it's just how you start and where you start is always changing. One thing is certain in life, and that change is inevitable. Platforms are going to change, algorithms are going to change. And I hear this all the time. I talk to personal brands and content creators like, what I do kind of works, but you still work a lot better. I'm like, change. They're like, but I liked it how it was. Get over it. Like, I liked making carousels. Doesn't work anymore. Maneuver, change, evolve, do something else. I love Instagram. Doesn't get the same reward that YouTube gives me now. Like, I'm moving on. So like, I'm still going to do Instagram, but I'm focusing on a different tactic. Like, we have to be agile and we have to maneuver. And I think the enemy is that, like, if you want to create, I guess, a battlefield scenario, the enemy is like the tides are changing, like the weather's changing. And I liken this in my book, like, if you look at social media or content creation, it's seasonal. There's going to be winters, there's going to be summers, there's going to be autumns, there's going to be springs. And you can't get down in the dumps when there's a drought and you're like, I'm not getting the views I used to get, I'm not getting the comments or the engagement I used to get, so therefore I'm going to slow down. Well, if you slow down, those that speed up in those hard times produce more content, give more value, try to be more dynamic. When the season comes good again, the algorithm comes good again, the new wave, or whatever that is, comes good again, those that are preparing in the winter are the ones that are going to do well in the springtime. So for me, I just think that when it comes to content creation, the enemy is like sometimes like people and themselves. But if you look externally, it's usually that there's saturation. Like, people are getting really good at creating content now, giving away value for free. Like, if you go onto Google, you can solve every problem you want to solve right now on YouTube and Google. What gives you the right to charge money to solve that problem? You don't have a license to have their money. What gives you a license is like, are you worthy of their attention? And I hear this all the time. People come up to me and I do workshops with clients. They're like, our content's good. I'm like, great, put it on social media. I don't want to, I want to sell it. Well, if it's really good, put it out there for free. Let's see if it's actually good or not. I'm like, well, I don't want to give away my magic. I don't want to give away my best stuff. And it's like, well, if you give it away and they don't react to it, you need to create new stuff anyway. So I think that the social contract between creators and social media right now is they expect it to be really good for free. And there's a lot of people entering the market at the same time, trying to steal your lunch and eat it in front of you. So we have to get a lot better at creating content, because every time you create a piece of content, there's no more people on the social platform per se. There's no more people spending money in a particular market. Like, if you want to gain grounds as a creator, you have to take attention of other people. And that's why it's getting difficult. It's because there's a lot of people out here that are really good at getting attention, and you're showing up and trying to take it off them. So that's why you have to be better than ever.
Man, we're coming out swinging on the podcast with 2 themes already. I feel like we went 0 to 100 real quick. Theme of the podcast is Drake, do right and kill everything. And so number 3, though. So people are tired of talking head content, kind of like reinventing yourself, maybe doing show me what you're doing, like show me the behind the scenes, even reality shows or innovative new ways of doing content. Market saturation, you got to be good. And there's also seasons. So also, if you're getting prepared in the winter, then if you can outlast the competition, then you also can ride those various waves. And we're going to be unpacking that throughout this entire episode with a lot of tactics to help listeners, whether you're just starting or whether you're more advanced. And so those will be coming up. But we're talking about these 3 kind of big changes in branding and personal branding in 2025. And the third one is build a theme around yourself. Talk a little bit about that, and maybe also what you're building around yourself in general, maybe like structure and teams in regards to building a personal brand.
Yeah, there's a little to unpack here, so like feel free to nudge me around if need be. Yeah, I think themes are like when you're putting yourself in the market, people try to put you in a bucket. They try to label you, right? Like you might say, well, Seth Godin's the marketing guy, and Greg Cardone's the sales guy, and Tony Robbins is the guru. And like we tend to put like these labels on these characters, even though they're more complex and nuanced than these things. It's like Wim Hof is the breathing guy, right? David Goggins is the crazy guy with no shirt that's always yelling and running somewhere. Like we tend to simplify things. And if someone was to radically simplify you, what would they use to describe you? And if that's not what you want it to be, then how do you course correct that reaction to be what you want it to be? So for example, for a long time, I would go on podcasts and people would say, here's Dane, the Instagram guy. And I was like, God damn it. Like, I don't want to be the Instagram guy. You know what I mean? I was like, I want to be the brand guy. And I was like, well, what's giving my community and my interactions and my engagements the impression that I'm the Instagram guy? And I was like, oh, it says it in my bio. Oh, every title of every piece of content I make talks about Instagram this, Instagram that. I'm like, well, I'm throwing the language and the themes out there and they're picking up on it. So like, you need to control the narrative. Like, what are the themes that you're trying to own? Are you trying to own videographer? Are you trying to own story? Are you trying to own, creative? Are you trying to own branding, strategy? Like, what's the thing you want to own? And you have to be conscious that you need to start putting monikers out there or putting labels out there in the zeitgeist for people to pick up on and go, okay, they're that thing. And the easiest way to test this is just, ask your community, like, hey, if you were to describe me in a sentence, how would you describe me? And just see what they say back. And go, okay, cool. I'm not mad at them for describing me the wrong way. It's my responsibility to adjust what they think my brand is. And I think coming back to the challenges, it's like, well, all these people are flooding the market and entering the market. Like, what should I do about it? Is it too late? Poor little me, the algorithm sucks. Like, am I blacklisted or shadow banned? When you dial it all the way back to its simplest form, typically the biggest challenge for content creators is themselves. Like, either a lack of self-esteem or a lack of personal belief that their stuff is any good, or I'm going to be judged, or I'm not ready yet because I need to buy all this equipment and have this background and yada, yada. I think just to keep it simple here, man, like if people could just realize that there's someone on the internet right now who has no idea about your industry and is like watching YouTube content that's going to start making content about your industry and get more viewers than you, even though you've been doing this thing that you've been doing for 4, 5, 10 years. It's like he who shows up and produces media gets the attention. It doesn't matter how good you are. And this is where the fallacy between people go, well, I'm better than that person. Why do they have attention and I don't? And it comes down to the equation of like, it doesn't matter how good you are. It matters who's showing up for the audience, who's showing up for the community consistently, giving them nourishment, going, hey, I'm here. Here's entertainment. Here's content. They're showing up with a great personality, great charm, great style, and they're able to romanticize their audience. Like, look at content like flirting. Content is you flirting with an audience. We might not know if we're going to do business in the future, right? We can't go straight to going to bed together. So if you look at the greats like Alex Hormozy, Gary Vee, David Goggins, Lewis Howes, Dan Martell, like whoever you're engaging with on social media, we're flirting with them. Like, man, this guy's kind of interesting. I wonder what their story is. I wonder what they do. I wonder what their business looks like. You want to create a sense of like charisma and exchange, which we're starting a social contract together. You can't just go straight to the purchase. And I think too many people that produce social media content are only focused on, I need the leads, I need the sale outcome, rather than I got to learn how to have some riz. I got to learn how to create a bit of romance between me and the audience for them to want to hang out with me. And if they just want to hang out with me, I'll sell them stuff later.
Man, there's a lot in there. And one of my favorite things you said was also your biggest competition is yourself. Because we can get so stuck in our heads and somebody else that's less talented, less prepared, maybe has less business acumen, less depth, but just more cavalier courage to just step out there and start recording might be getting the viewership. And I think sometimes we're guilty of watching somebody on the sidelines, we're sitting on the sidelines and being like, oh man, that's not even right, or picking them apart. Meanwhile, we're not taking action. And there's something about taking action, putting your content out there so you can at least be discovered. And man, we need a little riz and romance in our brands. Like we need a little bit, content's like flirting. So we really just hit these 3 kind of big themes that we can all apply going into 2025 and beyond. But I want to go a little bit deeper on that because part of your content strategy is having 5 core themes. Is that true? Can you break this down and then how we can maybe start identifying what that means? And what would you say if Grant Cardone is the sales guy? If, I wrote the book YouTube Secrets, if I think I'm the YouTube guy, well, that's only one theme. who do you see that's building out, these different themes? And this kind of gets in that niche conversation where do you get too pigeonholed if all you're talking, and now your brand, but what else are you? And how are people experiencing that? And how can people follow along to develop a stronger brand as they're developing their 5 core themes?
That's a great question. I think like the core themes, and we talk about this in the book, essentially it's like you want to rotate around 5 different objective talking points, right? So like, for example, when I first started producing content on Instagram, my original themes were, hey, this is how to make content. This is how to design content. This is how to formulate content. This is how to brand your content. Like everything was about content, and it just pigeonholed me to be the content guy. So when people would DM me or reach out to go, hey, can you help me? It was always like, can you make my content for me? But my objective was I wanted to build their brand. I didn't want to make their content for them. So like what you create creates a reaction. So it's kind of like, okay, I plant this seed, the fruit I'm bearing isn't the fruit I want. I want a different fruit tree. So then I have to go plant something different. So the themes are kind of like you planting different, I guess, fruit trees in your vineyard to get a certain result that you want. The themes should certainly sit around the product suite that you offer. So when I started talking about brand strategy, brand identity, graphic design, logos, brand messaging, marketing and advertising, people started to DM me or go to my website and reach out and say, hey, can you help me with my branding? And it took a little while to get the stigma of being the content guy off and be focused on so you have to have themes that sit in the vernacular of what it is that you're trying to sell as a product or a service. But you want to give yourself enough variety that you don't run out of things to kind of divulge. And if something's not working, just swap it out. You know what I mean? I think people struggle to get clear on what it is that they do. So having 5 themes forces you to get clear, because you could be clever, you could be charismatic, you can be cool, but if people land on your social channels and can't figure out what you do or why they should engage with you, it's very difficult for them to hit the follow button. So if you want them to hit the follow button and drop a comment and engage and pay attention, they need to understand, well, what the hell are you? Who are you? Why do you exist? Why should I care? What's in it for me? Stop talking about how great you are and start sharing with me what I get out of this relationship. We're in a social contract. We're romanticizing each other. You're romanticizing me. We're sharing our riz with each other. What do I get out of this contract? Because a lot of times when we talk to people about starting their social content, they're so focused on me, but they're not thinking about you, the audience, being of service. So the 5 key themes, it just gives you, I guess, a neighborhood to play in. Like, just give yourself 5 topics. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And then what you'll notice is if hypothetically you post 30 pieces of content this month and you have 5 themes and you rotate what you talk about each day of the week, right? So then it's like, today I talk about logos, tomorrow I talk about color psychology, the next day I talk about messaging, then I talk about strategy, then I talk about advertising, then I go back to the start, do it all over again. That means you post 6 pieces of content per month, 1 on each theme. 6 pieces of content each month on each 5 of your 5 themes. And then you go back at the end of the month, you go, which themes resonated the most? And just look at the data. Like, every time I talk about color psychology, people go nuts and I get a ton of leads from it. Let me just talk about that a little bit more. Or let me try and find a theme that like supports that theme a little better. So I just start looking at the themes I talk about like I'm a day trader, like I'm an investor. Like I'm investing in a theme today. Let me see what the ROI of that theme investment was today and at the end of the month. And then at the end of the month, what I used to do is just go, well, this theme doesn't do anything. I get no leads from it. No one comments. No one cares. I get no reshares, no engagement on that theme. Let's just kick that theme and put something else in that place. So I just would go back and forth with this with my clients until we can get a stack of themes that actually work for their social media channel.
What's your philosophy on niching down? If you look at like a Gary Vee case study, Wine Library and wine was a couple years, and then business content and social media. And then somebody today with a brand as big as his might be like, well, he's like, you are the niche. That's a quote that gets thrown around. And so it's like, it might be the Jets, it might still be wine, it might be NFTs and social and, anything in social marketing, commerce, online shopping, all this stuff. But he's Gary Vee, and Cardone, right, was niche sales and then real estate and then business, and they do like marriage conferences. So what's also maybe part of the journey, and I noticed your themes kind of orbit around a tip of the spear to cut through the noise. But I'm curious, for some, there's a big debate. Some people are like, you don't need to niche down. You know, you're just the niche, talk about kind of whatever you want. And, you know, in a YouTube context, not a lot of people break out doing that, but there's, you know, one or two odd stories. And so some people think that's a way to go. If someone's trying to unpack, they're multi-passionate, are they trying to niche down and then pick 5 core themes? Or if they start day one and they're like, this is going to be my wine, sales, NFT, crypto, pickleball channel, you know, that's the kind of 5 themes. Unpack that a little more.
Yeah, that's a great, I got like 4 ways I could unpack this. So yeah, like the whole thing around niching or niching, like niches get the riches kind of topic, right? Like, I agree with Gary Vee, like you are your niche in some aspects, and I kind of challenge it on other aspects. So I think that's a radical oversimplification of a marketing strategy and a brand deployment, potentially. Because I think the 2 things I go to, and let's just look at this maybe a little differently. So whether like shall thou niche or not, let's just put that on the shelf for now and just go, let's look at this a little bit differently. What I like to look at is like, so let's sit down. What does greatness look like for you in 5 years? Like, what are you building? Well, I want to build a company, or I want to do this, or I want to do, like, get clear on like, what is the Mount Everest that you're trying to climb? And this is a difficult question to answer, because a lot of times when I sit down with people, especially when they're starting, they're like, I want to do this and that and this and that, and da, 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 da. And it's like, cool. But just like, if you had to be the best and you were really good at like one core business model, what would that predominant primary moneymaker be for you? For me, it's an agency, right? I have a book, I have courses, I do seminars, I do this and that and all the rest of it, but I make my dough running a company. So that's like my Mount Everest, right? I like doing this other stuff, but these are all different camps up the mountain, right? But my Mount Everest that pays for all this other stuff is, you know, running a company. So back to like, well, you know, what is your Mount Everest? Like, you need to figure out like, where do you want to be in 5 years? What does greatness look like? And look at the future. You need to like really cast yourself out there at least 5 years. Then come back into the present and be like, well, where am I now? Right? So at the beginning, I was like, I work at Telstra. I have a $200,000 debt. I'm depressed. I hate my job. I hate my boss. I hate what I do every day. My Mount Everest was like, hey, I wonder if I could build an agency, make $1 million a year, and have 5 employees. That was my Mount Everest at the very beginning 6 years ago. And what you need to ask yourself is like, okay, if that's my Mount Everest and this is where I am now, there's one frame of thinking that you need to have, and it's split thinking, right? So I need to work from the current toward the future, and I need to work from the future back to now. I need to work from both ends, and I need to figure out like how this pathway leads up the mountain. And you can't just think current forward and future back. You need these 2 to kind of work synergistically together. Within that, what is that pathway? For me, it was like, I gotta make content, I got to generate leads for this agency. But then I realized like no one cares about me and my Mount Everest. They care about themselves and their Mount Everest. So I was like, well, people are out here trying to, you know, produce content and get attention. I'm going to start my pathway doing that. I realized early on that my pathway was kind of shitty, and I was like, I want a better pathway up this mountain. That's when I went and hopped into branding instead of talking about content creation. The point is, the niche is like, well, you're the character on the journey. And are you interesting? Are you charismatic? Do you have quirks and like interesting things that make you a human being, make you likable? Like, why do your friends hang out with you? There's something about you that they like. You're a character in their universe. You're a virtual character in a virtual universe for people you don't know, right? So back to the niche thing, I think where you can go wrong is if you try to be for everyone, quote unquote, right? So I see this all the time. I sit down in a workshop, and I've sat down with billionaires, millionaires, startups, and I hear this all the time. I ask them, who's your target audience? And they say, well, Dave, our target audience is everyone. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Explain how that works. Well, we do this and we do that. I'm like, cool. Is it working? No. Well, I wonder why. Because if you try to speak to everyone, we're speaking to no one. Like, put 100 people in a room, try to get them to agree. Not happening. It's like herding cats. So for me, I guess to put a full stop on this is like, you have to be a unique character, you have to be you, and you have to be a human being, but you have to be clear on what your route to the top of the mountain is, and you have to build themes around that, because if people discover you, and they can't figure out how to describe you, they're going to forget you. Like, you need to be distinctive. And if you look at Grant Cardone, and if you look at these characters, most big brands started off niche.
Tax Act knows you might run into questions while filing your small business taxes. So we have experts on hand whose job it is to know everything about taxes. They do that job so the rest of us don't have to. Heroes. Tax Act. Let's get them over with.
Presenting Tyson lightly breaded boneless chicken bites. Always been Tyson.
A patient takes the proper preventive measures. We can keep our enamel for a lifetime. If patients use Pronamel Clinical Enamel Strength, it will actually help to protect the enamel for a lifetime. So I would recommend Pronamel Clinical Enamel Strength to all patients.
Bell Tire, we're out to change the entire tire business.
We actually take care of our customers.
That's what makes us different. That and our one employee that happens to be a tire.
We're not your ordinary tire store because we're changing tires. Bell Tire.
Characters, most big brands started off niche, right? Nike, we make shoes for people who run. And Phil Knight was making shoes with a waffle iron. And it was all about running. That was it. Like, you got to remember, like, oh, Nike sells shoes to everyone. No, they don't. They started off selling to runners. They crushed that category. They built brand equity, and then they line extended. They're like, if we can crush running, can we crush tennis? Can we move laterally into basketball and do the same thing? Well, yeah, because runners want to win. Basketball players want to win. Tennis players want to win. Well, let's speak to the part of the athlete that wants to win. So then they crushed the athlete market. And they're like, well, athletes don't just want to win. Everyone wants to win. Everyone's an athlete, right? So Nike speaks to the part of you that wants greatness. So if you're trying to build a brand, you have to figure out what part of your audience are you speaking to. Are you speaking to their fired up part? Because a part of me likes David Goggins yelling at me, but another part of me likes Simon Sinek calmly talking to me. So there's different parts of me, and there's different personal brand options that speak to different parts of me. So what you have to realize is you have to niche to what part of the person are you speaking to, and you have to be clear about it.
Take that a little bit deeper before we go on. So is that like a tone aspect of your brand? Meaning, like, maybe, and this is like certainly the case, I know for me, I've gotten business advice from a lot of people. I've been to a lot of different business events, marketing advice from a lot of people. But you said if we're going to speak to a certain part of me, I also can learn from, call it that Grant Cardone energy. But that's probably not my favorite energy. And so there's others that bring it differently, but he's got a lot of wisdom on one side. So when that was like that final nugget you just dropped, sounds to me like tone. Is that what you're saying? Or can you expand on that?
Yeah, I'll expand on that a little bit. So, like, I think, like a lot of things make the whole. So there's a great book you can get on this, and the book's called No Bad Parts. And it talks about how human beings aren't essentially always one format, right? So at work, you might work in finance, you might be like rigid and task-oriented and like super methodical about your day-to-day operation and what you do in your career. On the weekends, you don't give a shit about tasks, you don't have any plans, you just want to hang out, drink beer, and go to the beach and surf and figure it out as you go. So you have two different parts. You have the like radical weekend hang out with my friends part of you. You have the gonna go hang out with my parents part of you, look after my little nephew part of you, crush it at work part of you, the dating, flirting part of you. So we have parts to ourselves. And what I would say is to tone, like tone can speak to someone's part. Outfit, style. So like think about what stimulates someone. Visual stimulation, verbal stimulation, I guess emotional stimulation. And then you have figurative stimulation. So like a concept when you get an aha moment or the penny drops in your mind, like, goosebumps. Like these things need to be distinctive. And if you're inconsistent with those distinctive triggers or mechanisms, you look like a crazy person. You're unclear, you're unsafe. It's like when you hang out with your friends and they're constantly flipping personalities, constantly talking about things that are irrelevant and confusing. You just don't want to hang out with them. I think a lot of people on social media just scramble and it's unclear. They're undefined. They're undistinctive. And I think they do that because they're just trying to find out what the algorithm wants. If they just focus on studying the greats and identifying what works for them and their style, Grant Cardone figured out what works for him. You figured out what works for you. And you don't have to be like Hormozi. You don't have to be like Gary Vee. And I think this is why Gary's like, you are your niche. He's like, just be you. But like, you still also have to get clear on what that is and whether it works or not. I'll give you one last example. So like if I'm on a sales call, people call me the smiling assassin. So on a sales call, I have to, in many cases, talk to corporations. You know, I oftentimes I'm in a boardroom and there's like 16 people, the company's worth $400 million. And I'm trying to tell them why I'm the guy that should solve their branding problems, right? Like, what does this guy know about, you know, his hat and his pair of Vans? How can he help our corporation? You know what I mean? So I have to use a tone that's like, guys, I'm here to help. I'm here to support you. I'm here to get to the resolution. But we need to talk about the numbers. So like I'm smiling, but I'm hitting them with a tone that's like slightly serious, but I'm taking the edge off by smiling and using friendly, calming, approachable body language. There's like layers to this. So like, and then again, if I'm hanging out with my kids, I'm not doing that. I'm not smiling at my kids and like telling them what to do around the house, but you have to figure out what are the mechanisms that you as a character has to put together to get the audience reaction or to get the sales mechanisms or engagement that you want. But back to the smiling assassin thing is I have to use tone because I have to take the edge off, but I have to be like, we're seriously solving a problem here, but I'm not gonna be a dick about it. So we're gonna have fun and we're gonna enjoy the process.
So much wisdom there and a lot of insights to unpack for our own personal brands. And just to clarify, is this book called No Bad Parts, Healing Trauma and Restoring Wholeness with the Internal Family Systems Model?
Exactly right. And you might say, well, what the hell has that got to do with branding? so that book, I think what it is like, I don't know if you study like Carl Jung or like psychology or NLP or anything of that nature, but all human beings have trauma, every single one of us. And that trauma shows up in our personality traits and how we show up in day-to-day life. And again, it's like when you are like, I want to start making content, but I'm scared. And then you start thinking about people are going to judge me. I'm going to get bullied. I'm going to get ridiculed. They're going to laugh at me. And like, that's trauma coming up from your childhood, from your parents or what have you. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's just like we've had terrible experiences in life. And later on in life, when you want to become a content creator, that trauma tends to show up. And when I do workshops or in-person events, everyone's talking about branding and content. And under the hood, they're actually coming to terms with their trauma. And I think that's a great book for anyone who's looking at building personal brand to understand, hey, what part of you wants to make content? But what part of you is holding you back? And how do you get those two to hang out?
Here we are. 2025, we're going deep on this branding conversation, and we'll of course link this stuff up in the show notes. This is the #1 bestseller in NLP psychotherapy, over 3,880 reviews. Looks like a legendary book and powerful tie-in to how we can all grow in this area. Okay, we're actually going to get into the brand fundamentals. I mean, I actually kind of want to get a definition of branding. Think about some of the next steps that we can do in regards to making a 90-day push to updating our brand. I do want to encourage people to check out Dane's book, which we will also link up in the show notes, the 90-day brand plan. We'll talk about that later. But before we get there, one last kind of question in the introduction, and as far as my notes go, so we're really still just getting started, you're great at creating content, especially Instagram. You used to really be, that's sort of like you mentioned, you were the content guy. Now you're the brand guy. But you focus heavily on creating shareable content that triggers emotional responses. Do you have a framework, or how do you try to do this consistently? And obviously, listening to this podcast, we can extrapolate that to be thinking maybe more about, man, is this content shareable? How can we trigger emotions? Give us a few tips here.
Yeah, great question. Like, again, like I think when it comes to content creation, it's all emotional. If you go through TikTok, if you go through YouTube, if you go through X, if you go through Instagram, just look at the reshares and look at the comment section of the most viral content that shows up on your feed. Like right now, I don't know if you've seen what's going on in New Jersey with all of the lights in the sky and everyone's freaking out about it. So like, that tends to be, whether we look at media or news, or whether we look at politics, or whether we look at content creation, it always comes back to emotionally led content. The news and politics are great at this. You know, they sensationalize things that may be mundane or normal. They make the everyday thing seem like an exceptionally negative thing that you need to be focusing on. So when you're making content, if you inject a bit of sensationalism around the emotion behind what it is you're talking about, it makes it all that more attractive to share with others. So we tend to share things that emotionally grip us. If we see a phenomenal movie, you have to see this movie. If we go, Kendrick's just dropped a new album, it's fire. You have to send it to your friends because you are emotionally reacted to it. So we tend to share what makes us emotional with those that we want to share our emotions with. So if you look at content, it's no different. Like content essentially is just the social landscape of people sharing their emotions with each other, full stop. You could be like, I'm sharing wisdom and knowledge. Nope. At the end of the day, we do everything pretty much led through our emotions. The framework I use for this is there's kind of 7 key emotions that tend to get the most viral traction when you share content. And those 7 things are...
Hey, we're about to get back into the podcast in just a second, but I have a question for you. Do you want to grow your personal brand this year? Do you need more leads and sales in your business? If the answer is yes, then right now is the best time to go all in on YouTube. Today's podcast is brought to you by thinkmasterclass.com, where you can get on-demand access to a 1-hour deep dive training revealing how to start and grow a profitable YouTube channel this year. For a limited time, you can get access to this on-demand class entirely for free, where you will learn the 3 biggest mistakes that people make when starting a YouTube channel, the new rules and changes that have been happening on YouTube and how you can use them to create an unfair advantage, and the exact strategy we use at Think Media to generate over 350,000 organic views every single day. The data is clear. 70% of viewers claim that YouTube makes them more aware of new brands. So don't wait any longer to start growing your brand and business with YouTube. Just go to thinkmasterclass.com to get access to this no-fluff, highly tactical, free on-demand training. That's thinkmasterclass.com.
Essentially, number 1, and which gets out of the way, is like sex. You know, things that are provocative, things that are promiscuous or sexy tend to get attention, tend to get shit. Not particular for myself, but hey, it exists, it's out there. Number 2 is like really thinking about things that are like hilarious or humorous or funny or it just make you laugh. Like Mr. Beast is just funny. Like I like watching his content. I think David Goggins personally is funny. It just makes me feel good. I just like, damn, this guy's just humorous. Even though he's being deadpan serious, I kind of get a kick out of it, right? Super shareable. Next is like things that are inflammatory. So things that like, you know, might trigger an argument. You know, we can think of certain characters in the world right now that when they say or share an opinion, there's 2 camps. There's the camp that's for them and the camp that's against them. Doesn't matter. That debate is interesting. Again, a lot of emotion there. People like to argue. People like to debate. But most people aren't into the inflammatory piece. Next is things that are like strange or weird or odd. Like when you watch a piece of content, you're like, what the hell is going on here? Like you see Mr. Beast doing something like he's like, we're going to surround this Lamborghini with stuff that this guy spent $10,000 on at Walmart to try to protect the Lamborghini. If he wins, he gets to keep the Lamborghini. You're like, what? Like, this is strange. Like, what the hell you want to watch? Then we go into things that are like prolific. So they give you goosebumps. It's like Simon Sinek talking about, you know, Start With Why and his TED Talk. It's just like deep. It's immersive. It's like interesting. It's intimate. And then lastly, it's like looking at things that are aspirational, like feats of strength, like Red Bull doing stunts. It's like, you know, the things that give you a sense of before and after. Like, here's a story of poverty and now they're rich. Like, we like the stories of aspiration. If you just look at the reshares, look at these 7 things and ask yourself, what cocktail of these things is in that piece of content that made it go viral? Is it sex mixed with humor? Is it humor mixed with aspiration? Is it weird and prolific? Is it, you know, weird and aspirational? Like usually it's a mixture. Then you add a character, then you add a theme, then you add, you know, an audience that it's targeted to. Then you have a viral piece of content. So when people say to me, you can't create virality, I'm like, yes, you can. Look at Liquid Death. Look at Mr. Beast. They know emotion sells content. And if you can get really good at understanding human psychology, like with that book I shared with you, and understand how humans actually react emotionally to everything, you can start to get pretty damn good at content if you can understand how human beings react.
Man, I'm loving this. This is genius stuff. But I got 6 of the 7 emotions. So there's one more. Which one are we missing?
Oh, I'm sorry. The last one is danger. Things that are like terrifying. They could maybe trigger vertigo. You know, when you're watching someone like fly down a mountain on a mountain bike, you're like, oh my God, like this person could like fall off the cliff, or they're snowboarding off a cliff or something nuts. I think danger tends to get our attention. It's like when you're, driving on a highway, you see a car accident, you're like, oh, danger. Like it just seems to get our attention. So however you mix these together, this tends to be the human, I guess, emotional responses that get the most sensationalized reaction. And the news tend to work really hard on danger. Like this is like danger here, danger there. It just keeps you locked in and focused. And I think it's a primal reaction. These emotions tend to drive our behavior in many ways.
It's really fascinating. And I am curious though, because you're saying we can really architect virality if we mix these emotions, have a character, a theme, and an audience. But a lot of people listening might be thinking, okay, though, in maybe a business context, I'm not going to do something dangerous. I could pull some of these in maybe, and maybe also viral isn't the only goal. Of course, I want the views, but I also want the right views that are going to lead to leads and customers. So if you were to apply this to kind of your average everyday person who's a little bit stuck on like, almost like I don't want to do these. Like, I don't necessarily want to go inflammatory. I'm not funny. I'm not taking my shirt off and starting an OnlyFans. Maybe prolific because I've built thought leadership, and maybe aspirational because aspirational for what I've achieved as a mom, aspirational for what I've achieved as a business owner. Maybe I'm trying to show that off as building a family. There could be practical things. Pull this in, and maybe I don't go viral, but I'm still getting more into this emotional led mindset of the content that I'm doing.
You make a good point there. And I think that, you can take all of these to an extreme. But if you look at sex, it's like you're attractive. Therefore, people are just more likely to subconsciously pay attention to what you're saying, right? Or humor might just be you're kind of joyful or cheeky or a little playful. You know what I mean? Like you just dial it back a little bit. You don't have to be a hilarious comedian. You could just be like, oh, this guy's kind of interesting and kind of looking at it in an interesting light. Weird or strange could be like you're wearing a quirky outfit. You have an interesting background. You have a hat that says think on it. Like that's interesting. Like what's that about? And then inflammatory might be like you're a little challenging. You're like, well, give me the better answer here. So, okay, like a little inflammatory. Or you might even say like when it comes back to danger, it's like, hey, the 3 things to avoid when you're building a business. Ooh. What are the things I need to avoid? Sounds a little dangerous. So it could be a little, it could be a lot. You know what I mean? We don't have to turn the spice all the way up to ghost pepper. It's like you just have a little sprinkle of a little bit of something in there. It has to be emotional. And these tend to be the emotions that get the most traction. If you were to engineer virality, I, for one, don't like trying to chase virality. I like to make content that I think is interesting and that can genuinely help people. But I understand that if I was to be like, hey, this is how you build a brand. Hey, you do this. B, you do this. C, you do this. Or if I say, hey, there's 3 mistakes you definitely don't want to make when you're starting your brand. Like, ooh, okay, a little bit of danger. Tell me more. So you just need to add a bit of drama or a bit of sensationalism, just a little bit to your content to make it a little bit more fascinating, a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And this could be the very missing piece. You're listening to this right now of why you're struggling to get views or why you're struggling to break through. Dane, you just said a quote. It has to be emotional. And I think 99% of creators actually are not sitting down and thinking about what emotions am I tapping into? How am I tapping into this? I mean, your thought leadership is clear. I've never heard anybody say that content is the social landscape of people sharing emotions. And it's an entirely different paradigm shift, which is going to be so helpful to us at the Think Media Podcast, creating content in this year and beyond. All right, well, we've covered a lot, but I do want to unpack a few next steps for branding. And we're already halfway into this conversation, but I think branding is so weird for people because they're like, does it just mean I have a good logo? Does it mean, is it my slogan? And so there's like your brand, your branding, your brand strategy, your brand identity. So what is your definition of brand?
That's a great question. It often gets confused, and a lot of experts and talking heads can be like, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. whatever I say here, people are going to challenge it. But there's a definition I like to adhere to, and it's pretty close to academia, pretty close to what you would see as a discussion, between executives at Nike and Pepsi and so on. And I guess the zeitgeist in the upper stratosphere of branding and in the upper echelons tends to be this. Your brand is what your market says or thinks you are. So like your opinion of me and my opinion of you, like that's our version of each other's brands. What do you think of Liquid Death? I put a Liquid Death can in front of people. I like to just watch their reaction. Some people go, whoa, what is this? I've never seen this before. Is this a beer? I'm like, it's water. And they're like, what? Sometimes I put it in front of people like, God, what is that? I'm like, it's just water. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Like people have a visceral, immediate reaction just to a graphic design style. The design style can elicit brands. Tonality can elicit brands. My outfit can tell you about who I am. You walk into a room, you scan people's outfits, you judge who they are. That's their brand in your head. You decide what the world's brands are to you. Eye of the beholder. For me, for someone to sit in front of me and my brand's this, I'm like, cool, well, tell me what your market think it is. Well, the market think it's great. Show me proof, show me receipts, give me testimonials, give me quotes. So I sit down with companies all the time. They sit down in front of me to do our strategy sessions and they say to us, we have a great brand. I'm like, great, where's your case studies, where's your testimonials? Oh, we don't have any. Okay, cool. We'll have, what have people said about you? Well, what do you mean? Well, what's people's opinion of your brand? Well, we don't know. It's like, well, your brand isn't what you think it is. It's what your market think it is. And if you don't talk to the market and ask them, hey, what do you think our brand is? You're flying blind. So for me, branding is what the market think you are or think your entity or company or corporation is. Branding is essentially, I like to use a metaphor for what I think branding is. And it's like, well, what's your Mount Everest? Well, I want my agency to be the fastest growing agency in Australia. I want to work with big fashion labels and successful e-commerce brands. I want to have a team of 50 staff. I want to have a really cool, fun culture. And I want to work with like fired up, excitable entrepreneurs. That's my goal. Okay, cool. That's your anchor. You're casting to the top of the mountain. That's the outcome that you want. Branding is climbing to that summit. If we break it down a little further, strategy to me is like what's the route to get there? Like, where's the mile markers? How do I know I'm going to hit them? How do I implement it? How do I make sure it happens and have accountability for that system? And then the brand tactics is like, well, what are those actions? What tools do I need? What channels am I distributing them through? And how do I make that happen? And brand identity is the visual identity that elicits those outcomes. So if I produce a piece of content, or I put a product on a shelf, or I build a website, the proclivity that people have when they immediately see the visual design and then they read the copywriting, they're making a decision in their head. So very much you're left with design and verbal language to train your audience to think of your brand the way you want them to think of it. So you know how I said earlier, I had social media content, but every piece of content said how to build Instagram, how to grow Instagram, how to design Instagram content. People see that messaging, they see the design, they decide, oh, Dave's the Instagram guy. So how you kind of sprinkle your touch points into the marketplace elicits the brands. But most cases, people don't have a brand. And this is what I mean. If you sat down with your target audience, and I'm not talking about personal brand, I'm talking maybe from more a company perspective. If you have a service or you have a product.
Hello, handsome. And hello, random chair. Clean up with Apple Intelligence means goodbye chair. iPhone 16e, latest iPhone, greatest price. And grilled chicken breast strips in the freezer aisle. Tyson.
Teeth sensitivity is so common. It immediately feels like, somebody's poking directly on their nerve. I recommend Sensodyne. Sensodyne toothpaste goes inside the tooth and calms the nerve down. And my patients say, doc, it really works.
and you survey 10 people that purchase said service or product and ask them how to describe it, and they describe the features and benefits of the product, you don't have a brand. If they talk about the experience and how it felt and what it meant to them, you have a brand. This is the zeitgeist that I tend to sit in, which is like, if you can figure out how to understand, well, what is your branding destination? What would you like people to say your brand is when you get there? What the tactics and the strategy is along the way, and how to figure out how to get this whole thing to work together. And it's not easy. That's what I tend to say is like, if you can get good at those things or have someone on your team who's good at those things, you're going to have a lot better success growing your company.
So I want to unpack, this is powerful. Your brand is what the market says about you. Then your branding, how do you want to be positioned? Then your brand strategy, what's the roadmap to get there, as well as tactics, the actual activities and things you do. Brand identity then breaks down into the visuals, things people see, and the writing, which may also just, in video especially, show up as language, the way you talk, what you say. So many people listening to this, though, are starting. They're maybe kind of on the sidelines making their plan. They're in an early stage. They're also just trying to figure things out. And so this question of like, what does the market say about you? It's like, well, nothing. I don't have a market yet. I don't even really have even maybe an initial audience, or it's not a big enough case study, or I have a viral short. And even by viral, we say VFM, viral for me. I had a YouTube short get 22,000 views. Well, vertical content, that's cool. And it's a really cool milestone, but like, that's not impact. That's not like a level of depth of people would recognize you. They're recognizing your logo. Some people listening to this, one of my biggest pet peeves, man, their YouTube avatar is still the letter of their name. Like, I'm offended personally for everybody, especially if you're on the YouTube channel today. You need to actually like at least get that figured out, and then get Dane's book to even take it to another level to figure out really what that should be. But apply this a little bit if you're not a corporation and you're a new personal brand. Maybe you're also a successful business owner. You got a product and service. You've scaled to 6 figures, multiple 7 figures, but your brand sucked the whole way. Like, you didn't really need a brand, like, because you had a good product and there's some word of mouth, but your messaging wasn't super clear, but the product solved the problem. So if you're at a place where like, man, I can't get much feedback here, how do you start dialing this in, and how do you think about this?
Yeah, you raised a good point there. So I'm going to hit this 3 different ways. 1 is with a metaphor, 2 is with logic, and then 3 is maybe a few things that people can do. So the first and foremost, like, I guess the metaphor here is like, if you're starting, essentially you have to kind of imagine yourself like a coming of age, right? So like, it's like moving out from your parents' house for the first time. It's terrifying. Like, I'm going to pay rent, I'm going to organize food, I'm going to do my own dishes, I'm going to do my washing. Like, it's overwhelming, the amount of stuff you have to do to like have a social channel that starts to get traction. But what you have to do is get obsessed with like finding ways to enjoy it. That's the first step. But to get over the fear, it's almost like I liken it to stepping out to the wilderness with a survival pack and going, I'm just going to go trudge out into the wilderness that is social media and find a spot to set up, right? My initial spot, camp, I metaphorically set up. I was like, I'm going to set up a camp and a little campfire here, which was like, I'm going to teach people how to make Instagram content. I thought I was a genius. I'm going to teach Instagram content and how to do it on Instagram. I'm like, who on Instagram doesn't want to learn this stuff? I was like, I'm a genius. Let's do it. And it worked, but it didn't get the reaction that I wanted. We'll come back to this when I go into, I guess, breaking it into logic. So back to the metaphor. You're stepping out into the wilderness. You're setting up a campfire. We talk about this in the book. And it's like, well, every campfire that you create one day could become an empire. But for sure, every empire that exists once upon a time was a campfire. So if you look at the great city of Rome, once upon a time, people showed up, put a little campfire in the ground, and were like, this is a great place to hang out. And then that turned into Rome. So if you're trying to create your Rome, understand that it always starts with literally a campfire. Maybe in the modern age, maybe not, but like if we use the medieval concept, let's just stay there. So for the sake of this, imagine building a personal brand, like stepping out to the wilderness, picking a spot, just anywhere, just pick a camp to be like, this is good enough for now. Let's just set up. We might move later. Let's just try this. Set up a little campfire. The metaphor of the campfire is you producing heat to attract people to go, ooh, this is kind of cool. This is entertaining. This is exciting. What's going on over here? A little bit of content. And every time you put a log on the fire, that's a piece of content. And the only way to stoke the brand fire is to put a log on the fire consistently. If you stop putting logs on the fire, you stop producing content, you're never going to produce enough heat to build an audience, to build a tribe, to build an empire. So if you could just get comfortable just going, hey man, I'm alone. I'm just going to keep adding logs to the fire. No one sees it. So what? I'm learning how to chop wood. I'm learning what types of wood I want to use. I'm learning how it kind of creates a reaction. Different wood creates different heat. Different wood lasts longer than others. You're just getting comfortable with the process. Before long, people start to show up and go, hey, we're kind of lost out here in the wilderness. This is kind of cool. Can we hang out here? You're like, sure. They grab a seat. What happens is the bigger the campfire gets, the more heat it produces, the more entertaining you are, the more, I guess, bells and whistles that your brand has, the more attractive your campsite becomes. And you can amplify your campsite by collaborating with others. We're collaborating right now. Like your campfire, your audience that are listening to this, who love you, who love hanging around your campfire, getting nourishment and insights and entertainment from you. Like, who the hell is this Dane guy? Now there's a pathway between the listeners of this podcast back to potentially my podcast or my event or my book or whatever I'm doing. We're creating a pathway between us. And you have to look at building a personal brand like building a business. You have to find other people to collaborate with. You have to find events to go to and collect a new audience to say, I got a campfire if you want to come hang out at it. Before long, if you get good at building a campfire, you can turn it into a business. And the metaphor here is like, essentially build a campfire first, get good at making content, get good at creating a social contract and emotionally engaging with your audience. And then they'll tell you, we're hungry. They're like, great, I can sell you something. What do you want? You want a burger? You know what I mean? So like, do you want to sell a book? Do you want to sell a course? Do you want to like, don't start with the sale. Don't get out there in the wilderness and be like, what am I going to sell? There's no one out there. Like start a campfire first, build an audience first, and allow the audience to tell you, dude, we would really like it if you wrote us a book. Dane, we'd really like it if you created a podcast. All right, here you go. We would really like it, Dane, if you created us a course about how to build a personal brand. Okay, well, here you go. Hey, Dane, we'd really like it if like you could come out to the US and like do some speaking and some events. All right, here you go. So like I've never decided, I've just allowed my audience to demand what they wanted and I just give it to them. Christo does the exact same thing. He's like, I just make content. I wait till the audience react. I give what they want. So that's the metaphor. The logic to this is that when you start making content, you're just trying to get data. Like, don't worry about going viral or getting a fan base. Just like produce a piece of content, look at the data. The data is they like this piece, they didn't like that piece. They commented on this, they shared that, but they didn't like this. You're just collecting data. Then you try to build enough data. 1 week of content isn't a lot of data. 2 weeks of content is a lot of data. 2 months content isn't really a lot of data. I think the reason I chose 90 days for the book was it's enough time to create enough data and create enough momentum. The data is, well, how many people followed? How many people engage? What do they engage with? You just start to look at the numbers and the statistics. Then the information above that is like, well, okay, they like this. What are the actionable insights? Well, the actionable insights of, the data to the information to the insights is if I make more of that, I get a better outcome. Okay, cool. Let's do more of that. Then you learn, okay, well, out of doing more of that, this one did even better. So the only way to go from data to wisdom is to look at the data, copy the information, get insights from that information, do something about it, and go through the cycle of like action, learn, action, learn, action, learn. If you do that for 90 days, at the end of it, you'll have a little bit of wisdom. You're like, okay, like I think my audience kind of like this. I got some wisdom about how to solve that problem. I got some wisdom about what products I could create next. But you can't go from nothing to wisdom. You have to go through these layers of collecting data, making sense of the information, choosing the insights that matter, taking action on those insights, learning what does and doesn't work. That's the only way to get to wisdom.
Man, this is rich, and you're making complex things simple with this campfire analogy. I think Media Podcast listeners, this podcast is really a blueprint, and I want to challenge us to really commit to the next 90 days. Whenever you're listening to this, especially those that are on the sidelines, 1 week's not enough. 2 weeks is not enough. A lot of people make New Year's resolutions, but they only get 3 weeks in. They don't even get enough momentum or enough data. So if you're listening to this right now, I just want to encourage you. We're going to get to a little bit more from the book in a bit, but pick up the book, make a plan, and really commit to 90 days of putting logs on the fire so that you also can get some data, so you can get some wisdom. And so you don't have to overthink about why didn't this work in month 1 or even month 2, but give yourself enough time to either commit or recommit to starting your channel, because there's so much wisdom here. And I do want to get to a little bit of the 90-day framework as we land the plane in a moment. But I want to ask you, personal brands versus corporate brands. And business owners that listen to this podcast sometimes even wonder, should they even be a personal brand? Should they hire somebody else in the company or appoint someone else to be on camera? There's a lot of different approaches. But you say that personal brands build trust faster than corporate brands because they're about character, while corporate brands are about capability. Can you explain what this is and why this matters?
Yeah, that's a great point. I think, like whatever it is that we do, we tend to fall in love with people and human beings. And then if we look at human beings have a few things. One is they have a story. They have an origin story. They had a defining moment. They have the trajectory that their life is on. They have enemies. They have friends. They have catchphrases. They have outfits. They have tonality. They have color. It's difficult for a company to have those things. And this is why you see a Nike partner with a Michael Jordan. Or this is why you see famous celebrities like Tom Segura partnering with Liquid Death. Like, you can use a person as an emotional extension to your brand to add a sense of personality, right? Harley Davidson's the rebel. Google's the sage, right? Companies tend to have personality. And I think the reason that we're more attracted to people and their character than we are to a company's capability, well, I don't need a company's capability every day, but I like connecting with people every day. You know what I mean? So I would say that if you were to say, which one do you need? In today's day and age, the landscape is changing. And what I've been witness to in the landscape is I've been working with entrepreneurs for about 10 years. And when I started the company 5 years ago, working with business owners, the conversation was, hey, what's the deal with personal branding? 3 years ago was, should I start a personal brand? 2 years ago, it was, hey, I'm thinking about starting a personal brand. And today, most entrepreneurs are like, I got to build a personal brand. So like the landscape's changed because people are starting to realize that these kids on social media, millennials or whatever, are making more money than them, and they've been in an industry for a decade or more. Like, how the hell is this guy on YouTube making more money than me? I've been doing this for 10 years. The point is, business owners are realizing that people that make media and produce content as a personal brand are stealing their clients. They're taking the market by storm because 5 years ago, we spent a lot of time on social media, but today we spend our lives on social media. And I think the social transaction between people is predominantly online. And those that win online are going to win a business. You can't just win business by word of mouth anymore. So to really break these apart is personal branding is a lot more about character. It's a lot more about style and presence and story, whereas companies are typically about capability, outcomes, and producing some kind of product or service in the market. It's not always interesting to look at products and services. No one goes on Instagram to follow companies. People go on Instagram, they go on TikTok, they go on YouTube to engage with content from people that they align with. And there's really only two reasons that we're really attracted to personal brand is human beings like to be around people that they like and that
iPhone 16e has the best battery life for an iPhone this size, so nothing's stopping you from getting the high score, except the stairs, benches, and rails. iPhone 16e, latest iPhone, greatest price.
Presenting Tyson lightly breaded boneless chicken bites. Always been Tyson.
Kate, what do we call? It's my paycheck. It's coming early.
A Fifth Third better means an early payday.
You know Harbor Freight for affordability, but durability goes right along with it. You see, we test, and then we test again. Now, it's time for you to put us to the test. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Advil Targeted Relief. The only topical pain reliever with 4 powerful pain-fighting ingredients that start working on contact to target tough pain at the source for up to 8 hours of powerful relief. Advil Targeted Relief.
In politics is people like, I align this way or I align that way or I'm a centralist or whatever it is. Like, we tend to hang out with those we see the world the same way with. The second thing is we follow personal brands because we want to be like them. You follow Alex Hormozy or Gary Vee or Chris Do because you're like, man, I want to be like that guy or that girl. Like we have a part of ourselves that aspires to be more, so that we're attracted to that. Companies just can't really do the same thing. So if you're looking for an edge or an advantage on social media, you need to think about, how do I create founder-led content about the company that I'm building? And an example of this is a guy named Poor Boy Coffee. So there's a guy who started a channel. He had a cafe. It wasn't making money. So he started making content about how much money he was losing. Then he started making content about how much it costs for the beans, and how he was just like a warm, interesting, like wholesome guy. And he's kind of humorous, kind of self-deprecating, back to the emotion piece. And he's just like aspirational. Like, it's just like, I want the guy to win. So what happened is, if you go to his social channel now, when he opens the door in the morning, he has a line out the door. He's making content about all these rad people that are supporting him. And I was like, oh, I'm making a little bit of profit now. I can buy a better machine now. And people are like rooting for this character. We love stories. There's something in us that is, you know, whether it's our ancestors sitting around a campfire, we love stories. We love human beings. And I think if you want an unfair advantage over your competition, and if you want to steal your competitor's lunch and eat it in front of them, you need to learn how to maybe use a personal brand.
Poor Boy Coffee, looks like he's got 59,000 followers on Instagram now. I think I found him, poorboy.coffee.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and what a cool story. There's so many nuggets in there and things we can apply to our personal brands. And if you have a more business brand, you know, when you were talking about Nike, it just made me think that like influencer marketing is not new.
It's not. It's been around since like ancient times, man. Like, the word influence is just a new buzzword that we use to describe, like, what is it that makes it so that person can influence an outcome. And the word influencer isn't even cool anymore. It's now about founder-led content. That's the new thing. It's like, oh, they're a founder. So I think it's not new. Like, we've been following what others do since ancient times. Like, Cleopatra wears that type of makeup. I'm going to wear that type of makeup, right? Like, it's the Caesars dress a certain way. I'm going to dress a certain way. We tend to be influenced by the zeitgeist.